him small. And he really stepped up. I saw many people like that, James, but I just want to give you a shout out. Give him a hand as well. Beautiful job out there.
Who's watching? Hi to 100 million people watching. 100 million people watching. I'm just listening and recording this live event with Tony Robbins kasi wala na pong memory ang aking Chromebook. Kailangan na ako mag-delete. So I'm just saving it here, listening.
Sampling of people that I was touched by, and I'm sure many of you have lots of people you were touched by. But this minister
parang ano lang to, reaction video, ganun.
It's pretty hard,
kasi
right?
I am saving it here. That's it. Day 5.
Your own humanness, your own vulnerability, that your marriage is not where you want it to be. You've not been present for your wife.
Bala ko dyan, makinig lang ko dyan. You'll see my reaction, live reaction.
Relate to that, but your commitment to own it and turn it around, just absolutely gorgeous. And it's what we all need to do, right? The only way it gets better is when we take 100% responsibility, not blame somebody else. Blame never improves anything. And not even blaming yourself's not good. Just, I'm going to take responsibility to change it proactively with high energy. So I really want to give you a shout out. I know you're coming to UPW, so I know I'll get a chance to visit with you more depth. Give it up for Minister O'Brien, ladies and gentlemen.
Ay, bakit? Kunyari kasama nila ako. Pero next year talaga, mag-ipon talaga ako. 20,000 lang naman yan.
And I just want to say to all of you, not only those that
So you
posted, but when I was
unleash
more touched
power
by
within.
some cases,
Unleash the
time
power
it
within.
took to leave comments of support for people or acknowledgement or respect. That's what the
I'm
world
listening to
misses.
Tatay Tony Robbins.
It's a sad situation that so many people spend their time trying to tear something down. But as you'll learn, many of you, when you go to Unleash the Power Within, you're going to discover that there's these 6 human needs that we all have. There's one that's dominant in our culture right now.
Hello to the one that is watching. How are you today? Who are you? Who are you?
We all want to feel significant. We all want to feel important.
What's your
we all want to
name?
feel special. There's no one who doesn't. Some people get it by working really hard. Some people do it by having big problems that make them special, right? There's lots of ways to get there. Some people do it by behaving really bad and they get attention. Some people by really growing. Some people by their kindness. But unfortunately, in the social media culture, so much of it is tearing down somebody else because there's 2 ways to be significant. One is take big risks, right? Like if you want the tallest building in town, how do you do it? Well, one way is work your ass off, work around the clock. When other people take lunch, don't keep building your building, right? Keep building that.
They wanted to tear me down, po tatay.
Tear down
Like,
everybody else's
I'm
building.
so sad
That's
about
called
it.
building
Like, why
down,
are you?
maybe, right? Blow them up. But the second way really
That's why I don't want to deal with them anymore. Hi!
doesn't make you any happier because when you try to make other people smaller, you make me in the moment look like you're getting bigger, but long term, you know in your heart what's really true. So this community is so
they're
different.
like just
And I'm just
tearing
honored that
me
you're all part of
down.
it, honored that you've all played so full out. So please give a hand to everybody, first of all, for such an extraordinary time here. So looking at this day and saying, how do we make sure we send you off with some momentum? And the answer to that to me is integration. Like, you know, it's one thing to understand something, another start to integrate it. And one of the simplest things I do that I really want to encourage you to do is whenever I go to a learning environment, I developed this habit when I was about 17. And I remember I went and learned neurolinguistic programming, NLP. How many of you have heard of NLP? A few of you out there, right?
Wala akong ballpen.
Really great techniques. At the time, they were the greatest techniques in the world, and now there are obviously a lot more than just NLP. But at the time, I got exposed and was all therapists. I talked my way into this room, pushed my way, and said, you need some other kind of people in. And I was so persistent, they let me participate. And then later on, it became available for everybody. But what I did different than anybody in that room is that, you know, the classes, most people's classes are kind of short, quick. That might feel good, but it's kind of like the language example I gave you. You know, you learn language in high school and college, and you don't speak it. But I drop you in the middle of total immersion in Italy 6 weeks, as we've said, you're going to speak it. And so one of the things that I try to do is do immersion. And so even if the teacher didn't do immersion, I did immersion. So at the end of a class, like, you know, people go to lunch at noon, The habit that I have, and I still have it today, I've been doing this for 45 years, is whenever I learn something, I don't take it for granted, first of all, that I've heard it. I take notes, even if I never looked at the notes again. Just physically taking notes statistically shows your absorption's different. I think I told you, like, if you listen to me passively here, you're going to enjoy yourself. In about a month from now, you'll remember maybe 10% of what I said. If you listen and you take notes, it jumps to 40 to 50. If you listen, take notes, and you activate your body like we've been doing things with your voice, your body, your emotions, then, and you're actively answering like you're doing in chat and out loud, now you start to get 85 to 90, sometimes 95% absorption where it sticks with you. You really get the value. But the way I made sure I did it, and the thing I really want to encourage you to do, maybe today at the end of the day or after class is done, is take at least 30 minutes. But I'm going to set you up so you already have momentum. And just look through your notes and brainstorm. You can like read all your notes is what I would do. And then I take out a piece of paper and I write down everything. I make myself remember everything that I thought was valuable. Every story, every metaphor, every example, every principle.
Same.
And why did I do that? Because everything you've ever heard, taste, touch, or smelled, anything you've ever experienced, you have that stored in your brain. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But storing it and retrieving it and using it are two different things.
Oo
So
nga.
part of what my expertise has been is how do I make sure that I use this stuff? Because my teacher Jim Rohn said, don't let your learning lead to knowledge, you become a fool.
Hi,
Let your
sana
learning lead to
nag-iisang
action. You can
nanonood.
transform life. You can become wealthy. You can be fit. You can be
Actually,
strong,
hindi ako
you can have a
nag-live para
family, you can make a
panoorin.
difference in your
Nag-live ako para
And
manood
so my whole
at
thing was,
mag-record
okay, I'm going to pull
doon
out,
sa
because if you
ni
pull out
Tony
what you
Robbins.
just learned,
Wala
while
kasi akong
still in
memory sa
short-term
phone
memory,
or
you
tsaka sa
acquire the
Chromebook.
way to
That's why I'm
retrieve it for the
recording.
future.
Listen,
Does that
let's
make sense?
listen.
How many understand what I mean by this? Say I.
Ay!
So it's all about wiring. Like people ask, what's the difference? Like each day we're doing 2 hours, we're going for it really great, we're giving you an assignment, but the difference is when you immerse yourself 4 days and nights, you're going to be living, breathing, doing this over and over
Yeah,
all these ways,
5
and it gets
days.
in your body, and now it's automatic. Now you're wired. So you want to start wiring yourself. And so I would do that. I would sit at lunch when everybody went to lunch, and I'd make myself think of every story, every example, every strategy, everything I learned, and write it all down. And I do it again at the end of the day. And it took more time, but my integration was unbelievable. And I remember I was in this course, and we did it three weekends in a row or something like that. It was over 6 months, but we'd done about 3 in a row. And the teacher, John Grinder, left the room, and somebody in the middle of an exercise started going into this phobic reaction. And if you don't know phobia, it's an uncontrolled response to a stimulus. And she was screaming and out of control, and everybody was freaking out. And I literally just got up, boom, took control, made it happen because I integrated all these things. Didn't just remember them, I'd integrated them. And I did this technique, and the teacher, John Grinder, walked in and saw this work, and he's like, come here. And that's how he and I developed a relationship. I eventually became his partner because I didn't just learn. You don't want to be dumb. What's dumb is to learn one time. What's great is to master something. Everybody dabbles, right? Dabbler, I'll try this. I'll make this thing happen. But if you want to really have an extraordinary life, you got to commit to mastery. And that mastery requires an investment in yourself of time and energy more than other people. It's like if you want an extraordinary life, you got to do what other people don't do.
Master.
And so that's what we've been doing this week, right? We've been jumping and celebrating and pushing ourselves and being vulnerable. Most people don't do that. How many feel the rewards of just these first 4 days, just a few hours a day here? Say, I. Right? So I really want to encourage you to do this, but to get you started, let's just do a quick review of some of the basic things that we covered over the last 4 days. And so I'd sit up in your chair if you would, and maybe jot a few notes. So try to remember back for a moment to day one. First of all, what were you expecting on day one? About 75% of you have never been exposed to me before, at least not in a real program or even
The power of
live video
patterns.
program like this. What were you thinking about? What do you think it was going to be like? What were your expectations? How many are happier than you even expected, by the way? If you're true, make some noise so I know you got it out there.
The quality of my life is the quality of my emotion. Whatever my emotion is, that becomes the quality of my life.
That any kind of breakthrough you're going to have, anytime you're going to go to another level, it requires energy. The energy is everything. Without the energy, your mind goes to a lower level of understanding and your mind will not maximize. But we saw that energy is a habit. How many many of you got more energy as the days have gone by here as you've just trained yourself to do this? Make some noise if you can feel it in your body, ladies and gentlemen.
Ahoo, ahoo.
So energy is a habit, and the goal is to live an energy-rich life. When you're energy-rich, you're going to have a better relationship. When you're energy-rich, you're going to crush it in your business.
Energy
When
is
you're
a
energy-rich, you're going to have so much more joy and happiness. Because think about it, the high energy states are what? Happiness, joy, excitement, drive, persistence, commitment, determination, love. Those are high vibration. They take high energy. When you're in low energy state, what are the natural states that show up? Frustration, sadness, overwhelm, stress, worry, right? Boredom. All that comes naturally when you're in a low energy state. So one of the most important things is to train your nervous system to be at its peak so that it's easy to go from bored or tired to peak state like that. Remember that snap exercise we did? Try it right now in your body. Sit in your body right now where you just kind of
snap.
relax,
Ayun na, snap
lay
activity.
back, and then snap into a peak state as fast as you can.
Para mga baliw, di ba?
And what we learned is what you're doing, right? That movement creates emotion. Emotion comes from motion. Sometimes the motion is the sound in your voice. As many of you learn to use your voice in
Hala
different
kayo
ways. Just make the
nanonood.
sound.
Diyos ko, wala kayo dyan, huwag kayong manood. Please lang, huwag kayong manood.
Movement,
Huwag
you're
kayong
not
manood.
standing in a certain
Nakikinig
position.
lang
Let's say
ako.
your
Huwag kayong
biochemistry
manood.
2 minutes, as they
Please
taught at
lang.
Harvard,
Malis
right?
kayo dyan.
But when you add movement and you add sound, dynamic.
O kaya pumunta kayo sa
everything.
Facebook,
Just think
manood
about
kayo
most
doon kay
people I
Tony
have come
Robbins.
up to me, they still do.
Ayokong tumayo.
You're that guy. You're Tony.
Tatay, si Tatay Tony nandyan.
Like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. And they'll come up and they'll start a conversation and say, like,
Tururut,
I
tatararatara.
don't know what it is, but I just feel so down all the time. Why do you think I feel so down? And I'm looking at them as they're doing this. And,
Wala akong ballpen,
I don't know
walang
what it is.
gawin lang.
I feel so happy. Why do you think I feel so happy? Right? Because as you noticed, high energy states tend to lift you up, don't they? And states of frustration or anger, depression, or sadness tend to bring you down. That's why people say, I feel so up all the time, or so down. But you can change it how fast, my friends? How fast? But you probably won't if you don't develop the habit, if you don't get it built into your body. So these 4 days, I've been just trying in a short time, trigger you. But you got to continue. So you can do it with me. I'd love to have you with me, or you at least got to do it on your own. Because if you do it, you're going to have a different life. How many agree with that, by the way? Say hi. You're going to have a different relationship. You're going to have a different level of joy. And remember, we all talked about there's only 2 worlds you got to master. These are just triggers. So you might want to write some of them down just to remind yourself. But what are the 2 worlds? There's the external world and there's the internal world. And we can't control the external world.
My internal world is
We can
world
absolutely influence it. And we need to.
is
But the
so
most important world to master
beautiful.
is internally.
My
And really,
external is
what
so
I'm
messy.
hoping you've begun doing here, and what I do for a living, is get people to re-engineer themselves. You know, there are some races that people go on where they go, you know, Le Mans or these races across the desert. And you know, if you
Hoy,
don't
huwag kayong manood
engineer
dyan.
the
Sino
part
kayo?
of that,
Sino
you're
kayong
gonna get stuck
nanonood
in the
dyan?
desert. But
Galaw
if
niyo ang
you
baso.
shock absorbers,
Ba't kayo
they
nanonood? Makinig
adjust
kayo kay Tatay
everything,
Tony
the carburetor
Robbins.
up
Go
so
to
the
Ultimate
thing doesn't lose
Breakthrough
oxygen if it falls deep
sa
in the
Facebook
sand.
or sa
We
YouTube.
have to
But you have to
re-engineer
have
our
the
lives
link.
for what we're going
Hindi ko
through
naman
right now.
pwedeng
We're in
isan
winter.
dito eh.
If you don't re-engineer yourself, it can feel horrific. But if you re-engineer your beliefs in your body, then all these things change. So it's all about pattern recognition. Remember those 3 skills? Recognizing patterns, because everything you do is a pattern.
Yep.
Happiness is a pattern, and so is
Yep.
depression. Excitement is a pattern,
Yep.
so is worry. And so if you develop new patterns
Screenshot.
in this internal world, you'll start to change your external world. And that's where we start. So
Creation.
it's really, first you're looking
Creation.
for pattern recognition, then you're looking for pattern utilization, and then it's pattern creation, right? You want to make sure you do all 3 of those. And
Palingot
that's
ko
what
da.
we've been doing over the last few days to try to give you a little picture of where things are. And then, of course, we showed you the pattern of how to create a breakthrough. By the way, how many of you had some nice little breakthroughs, even in these couple of days here for yourself already, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what is that breakthrough? Remember, it's the moment in time when suddenly what seemed impossible, you're going to do. Because something in you shifted, something pushed you over the edge, some emotion, some experience. It could be inspiration or it could be pain. And you said, this is changing now. We've all experienced it. And then what happens? You do something. Why? Because you develop a new belief, or you have a new perception, or you have a new strategy that makes you believe you can do it, and you change your life. So when we walk through, what are those three? Do you remember? What are the three steps? They all start with S's.
State.
And we showed you the mistake most people make. Most people, naturally, when they want to change something, their body, their relationship, their finances, they ask the question, how? And since they haven't changed it before, they feel uncertain. And even if they find the how, they don't follow through. So the first one that most people go to, remember, is strategy.
A strategy.
But you can give somebody a strategy. Who's ever helped somebody? You help them, you go, you give them the answer, it's right there in their face, and they tell you, oh, it won't work. Who's had this before with somebody you've worked with? Make some noise out there, friend or family, right? And the reason is the strategy is worthless if you don't first change the what, my friend? What is it?
Stay.
The story.
Story.
The story is I've tried everything. The story, the good ones are gone. Whatever the story is that's limiting you. Remember we said divorce the story and marry the truth.
Yep.
The story is unlimited.
Divorce
The
mo na
truth
yan.
is unlimited. You can find the way. And then your story probably won't change unless you
Yung
first
mga
change
iniisip
your
nyo, divorce nyo na yan.
right? Your ability to do that can be done in seconds, as you just showed. You can do it by the way you move, by the way you breathe, by everything you do. And then we said, let's see if we can't find those resources in you, because when we're stuck, you ever feel yourself stuck again? Remember, I'm
The
stuck
first
because
one
I'm
is state
stuck in a
story,
perception.
and
I'm
then
stuck in a certain way of using my body.
bakit
I'm stuck
kulang yung
in
aking
the same
sulat?
thought. And so we gave you those 4 archetypes. How many got a strong warrior, a great magician, a great lover, a great
Ay,
out there, ladies and gentlemen?
yes.
Right? And so that first day, we said, change your story, change your life. And you went online and you shared what your old story was and what your new story is. I'm really excited about the new story you're creating now here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
Make some noise if you got
excited.
that, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
Awesome. So now, let's go to day 2. Day 2, we said, we're going to show you the force.
Buti naman umalis na yung nanonood.
The force that determines whether you make a lasting change or whether you say, I've lost 100 pounds, 10 pounds, the same 10 pounds 10 times, right? Lasting change is what we're after. And so you learn that the strongest force in the human personality is the power of your identity. The need to stay consistent with how you define yourself. If you define yourself in negative terms, then sure enough, negative things are going to occur. You're going to create them if nowhere else. And remember, we talked about the 68 degrees. If things drop too much, like 68 degrees, your comfort zone. And if you get, that's your comfort zone financially, you want more, but that's your comfort zone. And that's your comfort zone in a relationship. So much intimacy. You want more, but this is what you're used to. Or I want more energy in my body stronger, but this is what I'm used to. The used to is the identity. And if it drops too low, where now you're not doing so well, there's a point when that identity kicks in and goes, hey, you're not a 62 degree, or you're a 68 degree, and you feel that pressure. Who's felt that before? You got things so bad, finally you hit something inside that said no more, and you shifted. Who knows what I'm talking about here? Make some noise if you are. But also, what most people don't realize is it happens on the top end. If you're at 68 degree and you start really succeeding, getting momentum, and you're at 70, 80, 98, there's a point where the brain goes, hey, what are you doing? You know, you're a 68 degree, you're not a 98 degree, and you lose your drive. Or the air conditioners kick in and you start to sabotage to get back where you want to be. This is why shifting identity is everything. And again, we did it here for a little bit. I think you did it. It's a big part of what I do literally for half a day because we want to get it in every aspect of your nervous system.
Sana yung magiging asawa ko sing
psychologically,
sure
physically, all levels.
Ni
We do that with immersion.
Tatay Tony.
But you've already begun that process if I don't see it before.
Hindi man kailangan maging perfect. Kailangan
In
lang
addition, that
alam
day,
niya
I gave you a great
saan
tool.
kami
Remember the
pupunta.
5 to thrive. If people are doing well, these 5 are rocking and rolling. If they're not, they're missing. Remember, we started with the middle. Said if you want to feel great, a great state, it starts with the way you use your physical body. Remember, we said physiology first. Change that body radically. You're going to have a radical
Papasexy
change.
talaga ako this year. Kala
But
niyo
also,
dyan.
what do you focus on? Remember, focus equals feeling. So if you change your focus, if you think of the worst scenario, you're going to feel sick to your stomach. You think of the best and imagine it over and over again, which is what a great athlete does. So they perform higher. They train their nervous system. over and over for what they want, not what they don't want. And then we're going to talk today about language in a little more depth because it's so important, because the language we use determines how we feel. And certain words or certain phrases blind us from the truth. Like, you can't find the salt, you can't find the salt. But we said you can change all three of these and change how you feel, but you probably won't do it regularly unless you create a compelling future. Something to look forward to.
Vision.
And that's been hard to do in the last 2 years for a lot of people, because every time you think you're going to create something, some government issue changes, your approach or tells you what you can't do. But you'll learn, and we gave you some examples over these few days, that it doesn't matter what happens. Even with that, there's ways for you to still find a way to thrive. And of course, the most powerful thing, of course, is your identity. So then we showed you ways that you could build a brand, either at work or for your own business. And we walked through understanding the power of identity, articulating, practicing how to communicate it, and then most importantly, living it and marketing it. And remember, I gave you the example of Mike Glickman, right? Just had no tools, no resources, but thinks, okay, no one wants to buy from me. I'm too young. Well, I'm going to do something beautiful for the community. Hauls away all their trash, and now he's a superstar. By the way, he wrote me. I guess many of you must have called and looked at me. He goes, I'm the most popular realtor in the world, because you mentioned me the other day to 800,000 people. So thanks for saying hello to Mike for us. He's a good man. So that was really what that day was about, right? And then you said, okay, what's my old identity as your assignment? What's my new identity? How many got a sense of contrast between who you used to describe yourself as and who you're going to commit yourself to being now? Make some noise if you got that, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, just for 1 second, I mentioned to you on the first day one of the people that came to this challenge last year, and then he went, of course, to UPW, and then I invited him to the live one. Remember I told you about Matt and Tinsey? He's really an amazing guy, and I asked him if he'd pop on for a second, because this is a man who was pretty much stuck in his bed for years and only watched this thing because he could do it on his laptop in his bed, unable to get up to go to the restroom, and he's transformed. So somebody changed your identity. I can't think of a better person. So just for a second, let's give it up for Matt, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for him. There he is. No, let him hear it. It's Matt. You're looking good, brother. Hey, man, how you doing? Let him hear you, ladies and gentlemen. Matt, good to see you, brother. You look great. Tell me, hey man, how you doing? I'm doing so good. Will you tell this audience how you shifted, how you broke through, what your idea? Tell them where you were, because not everybody knows the story, and tell them what you did, because it's miraculous what you did with yourself. We just want to honor you.
714 pounds, man.
714 pounds.
Yeah, I was 714 pounds in January of 2021. I lost almost 280 pounds.
Give him a hand for that, man.
Wow, 200 pounds. Ang ganun-ganun lang.
I'm shooting for 399 pounds.
Wow.
In less than a month.
Wow.
Jackie's going on vacation with her mom.
Wow.
Yeah, we're doing good, man. There's been a lot of challenges, though. I got to be honest.
I'm gonna, because I am recording this because I wanted to see myself growing for the next
Yes.
years to come. So I wanted to see it, if how I've grown. When I'm gonna look back on this, that's why I'm recording this. This is a commitment to myself to grow. So just surrounding myself with people that are good for my mental health.
It's really tough. I mean, so I mean, it's been really hard for me.
Watch nyo na, guys. Watch. Go and find Tony Robbins. Also follow Real Talk Darbs. Huwag kayong ganyan. Real Talk Darbs, the boss that I have. The only boss I want to be with or be working with. If not, I would need to work on myself, make a business. It's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna make it.
You gotta really hold fast to what your vision is.
Yes.
And I think that's what
Yep,
sometimes
vision.
we we lose.
Begin with an end in mind.
You know, Jackie's helping me with that.
See yourself, envision yourself.
This is the love of his life that he found in this last year as well. They're engaged to be married.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
But tell them where, because where were you? How many years were you in bed, unable to get out of bed? And what they tell you about oxygen? Because what happens sometimes when we make progress, of course, what we say, it's a wind, right? Winds up and down.
Right.
Here's somewhere you
Sakit ang ulo ko, may gulay. Alam, may nanood ng dalawa. Huwag kayong manonood.
No clothes, 714 pounds.
Okay,
You know, and I
manonood.
never thought I would ever be free, you know. And,
Sino kaya yan? Sino kayo? Igalaw nyo ang baso. Pwede kayong mag-chat dyan.
you know, but, you know, with faith and with connection and family and community, like you guys or whatever, you know, that's helped me definitely big time. So
That's beautiful. I told you,
it's been tough.
by the way, I told you to never be without the oxygen, right? Never get out of bed, never make it to the restroom. And now,
Man, I'm telling you right now,
yeah,
there was 2 years where I had oxygen attached to my CPAP machine, and I couldn't breathe.
Gusto ko talaga, parang the next year, may sarili na akong kotse, tsaka bahay. That's my goal.
I did a mini hike recently.
Wow,
I had
give it up for
COVID-19.
that's so
Yeah, I had
awesome.
COVID-19 with Jackie, and we went on a hike, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we did. So it's definitely been a challenge, man. But I gotta tell you something right now. I mean, if you put your foot forward, and you accept the challenges, and you like face what's happening, you know, you can make it happen. And I'm grateful for you, Tony, and your wife. I
I'm
know for
grateful
sure that,
too.
you know, with everything that's happened, man. I
Ganda ng
probably
session
would've been,
kahapon.
you know, facing certain paths.
Those who are gonna watch this replay, if you're gonna watch the,
Medical
the
professionals in Eugene, Oregon,
the yesterday's
you know, one of the
live
top,
was really like
professional hospitals in the world when it comes to doctor stuff.
so good.
You know,
About relationships.
Oregon Health and
Panoorin
Science
nyo.
University of Oregon.
Free lang naman tong training na to. You can look at it.
And they said, man,
Even if it's
you're
not,
done,
even if
man.
it's
You know,
free, it doesn't
I'm sorry
mean that it's
you know, made these
not
choices,
valuable.
opiates, different things.
You have to take advantage of that. That's what I do. I take advantage of free trainings to learn. Kasi may free naman, bakit ka pa, di ba? Bakit ka pa hindi magsa-sign up? Free na nga.
Not only defied the odds, he got himself out of bed, got off the oxygen.
The universe made it
so that he could,
available to you at that time. Bakit di ka pa magsa-sign up? May hiya ka dahil free yan. Why? Why are you thinking that way?
So that's the thing. It's
Why?
like, I haven't worked since 2014, but I got a job with Uber and Lyft.
And my goal then as well is to be
LA
part
County. I mean, hey,
to be part in VIP next year. Kailangan mag-ipon.
Hey, listen, I gotta tell you though.
Uber Eats. Uber drivers. I work for Uber too.
You're getting engaged, so I want to tell you,
I gotta tell you,
brother, right now. So you work so hard, and this is what happens to everybody. You work hard, and then you hit a plateau.
Diyos ko na siya umalis. Sino ka ba? Sino ka? Ba't di ka umalis dyan? Ba't ka nanonood lang? Why are you watching? Huwag ka manood dyan. Manood ka kay Tony Robbins. Wag dito. Doon. Hindi ko nga sinishare. Hindi ko nga ito sinishare kasi ayoko nang nanonood eh. Sinisave ko lang kasi wala akong memory.
I think that's the only piece you need to give yourself a little more balance in, brother. Because I know you push yourself so hard, but there's spurts and there's times when you get a little balanced, and then there's the next spurt, and I know you'll find it perfectly. But I just want to honor you and want to honor Jackie, the lady there, because you guys are extraordinary as a couple. Love seeing you together. Can we have a big hand for Matt, ladies and gentlemen?
I'm preparing myself to have my... Alam niyo ba guys, na wala akong TikTok app? Kasi hindi kaya ng phone ko. I downloaded StreamYard and Zoom. So, kailangan ko tanggalin yung TikTok. Tapos, but I'll be downloading it na ulit kasi may ilalike ako yung ano ng boss ko na aking
shift and try to do a breakthrough and you make a lot of progress and you hit something and you got to break through again. And invariably what happens is the mind will take over and you forget all your progress. Everybody does this. So there's a gentleman who was
Uy, wag ka nang,
how
andiyan
he
ka pa
looks
ba?
at problems. I think it's
Sino ba
useful
yan?
for all of us.
Nandiyan
Take a
pa
look.
siya. Sino ka? Ba't ka nanonood? Ba't ka nanonood? Di ka man nagsasalita. Mag-ano ka dyan, message. How are you today? How was your day? Joko podcast.
And I look at him and I'd say, good. And finally one day he was telling me about some issue that he was having, some problem, and he said, I already know what you're going to say. I said, well, what am I going to say? He said, you're going to say good.
Parang gusto ko nang iwanan talagang Pilipinas kasi ang daming marites.
That's what you always say.
Nagkalat.
When something is wrong and bad, you always just look at me and say good. And I said, well, yeah, when things are going bad, there's going to be some
Ganda ng
good
kanyang ano,
that's going to come from it.
edit.
Didn't get the new high-speed gear we wanted? Good. Didn't get promoted?
Good.
Good. More time to get better.
More time to get better. Wow.
Good. We can focus on the other one. Didn't get funded. Didn't get the job you wanted. Got injured. Sprained my ankle. Got tapped out. Good. Got beat.
Good.
Learned. Unexpected problems. Good.
Ganda.
Have the opportunity to figure out a solution. That's it. When things are going bad, don't get all bummed out. Don't get startled. Don't get frustrated.
Think that it is good.
If you can say the word,
Good. Yep. Good.
guess what?
Everything
It means you're
gets
still
good.
alive. It means you're still breathing.
Amen.
And if you're still breathing, well now, you still got some fight left in you.
Yep.
Get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate,
Recalibrate.
re-engage,
Re-engage. Nice.
and go out on the attack.
Attack. Grabe, ang ganda ng video niya. Get after.
Give it up for Jocko.
Ururut. Ano na naman yung hanapin ko ngayon? Ano tayo yung cellphone ng dayba-dayba?
You know, that we talked about, we all have a 2 million-year-old brain, and it's not designed to make you happy, right? It's designed to make you survive. It's always looking for what's wrong. So you got to recondition it. And good is one of those ways. Remember I shared with you how I've done it throughout my life through incantations, not affirmations. I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. And your brain goes, BS, you're not happy. But where you use your body and your voice, everything with total intensity, what you
voice.
say, over and over again.
Kaya
That's
nga,
what is circulating in my life is what flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals are met instantaneously by infinite intelligence, for I'm one with God and God is everything. Try that for 45 minutes.
Ganda ng
over and
kanyang
over again, and tell me
affirmation.
you don't shift everything. But you got to do it with full intensity. I've taught this for years, and then
Energy.
somebody sent me this little video of their daughter who attended because she was watching what we did. Take a look.
Look, I can be a circ. Now, my whole house is great. I can do anything good.
wow.
I like my school. I like anything. I like my dad. I like my cousins. I like my aunts. I like my outfits. I like my mom. I like my sisters. I like my dad. I like my hair. I like my haircuts. I like my pajamas. I like my stuff. I like my room. I like my whole house. My whole
Cute.
house is great. I can do anything good. Yeah. I can do anything good.
I want to have a baby like that.
Give it up for Jessica.
Cute. Kuya Darbs, mamaya na yung assignment ko, ha? I'll give you the best of the best,
Let's go to day 3
Georgia.
interview. What do you remember about day 3? Day 3 was about creating your own economy, where where the idea that when in the middle of
My
a
brain is
crisis,
aching.
there's always an opportunity. And we talked about business really being a spiritual game. Now, how do you win the
Create
game?
your own
You do more
economy.
for others than anybody
Ito na
else.
nga ako magta-type,
This
wala
whole
na
idea
akong
that I learned
lubat
to
ang
grow,
aking phone.
that if someone is doing better than you, could you earn twice as much money in the same amount of time? Could you earn 10 times as much, 100 times as much? Yes, if you find a way to add more value.
The video is for
Find a way to
myself,
become more
actually,
valuable, add more skill,
to remind
not just
myself
give what
to,
you want, give what people really want, what they really need. And if you do that
to
over
do
and over
better.
again and you over-deliver,
Alo
you're
kami,
gonna build
dalawang
a brand.
nanonood.
Whether it
Huwag
works
kayong
for somebody
manood
else,
dyan.
you'll move up.
Di
Or
ba
if
yung
you
Tony
own a company,
Robbins
you'll grow that
manood?
company. And we
Guys,
talked about
go to
businesses
Facebook
that
or to
spiritual
YouTube and then
meaning. What we're trying to do is
find
do more for
Tony
others than anybody
Robbins.
else. And if we do it, long term you win. Not always with the person you go to. You might give to this person over and over and see nothing.
Kalimutan
Then
ko tuloy
behind you,
ito type
somebody
ko.
here gives to you. How many of you have given a ton and it didn't come back from where you thought it would, but it did come back in your life? How many can relate to this? Make some noise if you can, out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
And then I brought you two of my friends, two extraordinary people, Sarah Blakely and Jesse Itzler. Give it up for them.
Spanx. Secret
You
to
learn
add
that Sarah,
value.
her dad helped her prepare herself for victory, something all of us can do as parents. What did he do once a week? At dinner, at lunch, said, what'd you fail at this week? And he was mad if she didn't have something she failed at. So she learned failure is learning. And they both discovered that what you don't know is your greatest asset.
Wow,
And that
nice.
success is always on
What
the
you
other
don't know
side.
is your greatest asset.
Remember, she
Oh,
started
wow.
with $5,000, having spent years going around selling fax
Is
machines.
your greatest asset.
She
Oh
wasn't
my
even able to make
gosh.
Disney to be
That's your
Dumbo. She got
greatest
cut from
asset.
that. Right? Talk about feeling rejected. But somehow she said, I'm going to find something. I'm going to find this answer. She didn't know what it was, like many of you, but she said, I'm going to find it. And then one day she gets the insight for Spanx. But insight's one thing, execution's another. And so what she do? They hustled, they persisted, they had this determination. She finally got someone to help her make a mock-up.
Nakati
They
yung
wouldn't do
sa
that.
dulo, may gulay.
And remember what she did? She kept calling. She didn't tell you the whole story, but she didn't even know how this happened. She called Neiman Marcus at a local store and said,
Babalat.
I want to have you carry one of my products. They said, we don't make those decisions here. They're done in Dallas. She called the lady in Dallas and got a voicemail. Never
State,
left the
story, and
voicemail. Waited
strategy.
one day, the lady answered the phone
State of mind.
and then said, I wanted to, the lady said, well, just send it to me. She goes, I can't send it to you. I got to show you. Give me 15 minutes. I'll meet you
Change
in the
your
parking lot.
story
And then in the middle of their presentation, the woman wasn't
for their
buying.
identity
She
to
saw it. Come to me to the bathroom.
strategy.
Come to me to the bathroom. I got to show you. Makes her deal. And then most people would say, I'm in 7 stores with Neiman Marcus. She spends 2 years going to every store and helping them
Mind,
make the
body,
sales happen. Even when people don't
story,
want her to.
identity.
That's how you build success. How do you build it? You build it by rawness, right? Jesse says, goes to Ted. Okay, I'm going to have my own company selling jets. He had no money, no background. He went to where the big fish are. All these big fish. And remember, couldn't get in, so bought all the bakery goods, so people had to come to him. And then he over-serviced that one customer. It did
Go where the
did
big
more
fish
from anybody
is.
else. Arranged the
Look.
doctors, arranged the restaurants, arranged all the things he wouldn't have expected. That's all over-delivering that makes that possible. And then we taught you the 3
Over-deliver.
keys to grow anything. You got to know, do you remember what they are? Your ideal client. Who are they? And those of you on Zoom,
Those who have problems, those who have been
11
pains.
years old and was, in our Q&A,
And then
selling
find.
eggs, and we got to walk her through how to grow her business. It's pretty exciting. Finding your ideal client. She was selling clients. I said, who's your ideal client? She goes, well, I have one client that buys 5 dozen eggs. I said, well, what does everybody else order? 1 dozen. Well, why does she order 5 dozen? Well, it's because she makes a lot of bakery goods. So I said to her, well, who else might want more eggs than 1 dozen in a week? Who else would be a more ideal client? And they need them every week. She thought for a moment and she said, well, maybe, one of those big Carnival cruises. I said, wow, you think big. I like this, right? And I said, well, what about restaurants? And we walked her through, what if you called on 50 restaurants? How many would say yes? She was 30%. I said, okay, well, you have 10 clients now. That'd be 15. You grow your business 150%. What if only 10 said yes? You grow your business 50%. But no, they're buying 10 things of eggs, not 1. You grow your business 200-300%.
Nandyan
What's
pa rin
going to be
sila.
your irresistible offer? Remember, that's the second
Guys,
step.
huwag kayo
Irresistible
dyan.
offer. Change your offer,
Huwag
change
kayo
your business.
dyan.
Change your
Pwede
offer,
kayo
change
maglagay
your
ng
company.
link dito.
Literally overnight. You got to make it an irresistible she's got a price, she gives 10% of it back to the homeless. Her price is lower than everybody else. She delivers it locally and they're organic. Plus, I'm 11. You're supporting the future, right? So she got it together and then over-delivered. So those are the three components that we really put there. But really what you got to do is fall in love with your client. The secret to wealth, add more value, fall in love with your clients, not your product or service. Your product or service may need to change. But if you really...
Ay, fuck, nawala.
Totally different.
Yarn.
So you started to think about, how do I start to do this? How do I make this shift? How do I make this brand shift in myself?
Oh guys, i-click
Then
mo
we
yan.
go to
Pumunta kayo
yesterday,
dyan.
day
Pwede pa
4,
dito
which
sa
was
stream.
relationship. And again, I'm trying to trigger you to remember things that you write down.
Doon
and
kayo
think about,
manood, wag dyan.
where can I use these theses? But yesterday, I showed you, like, no one's happy long term if their business is going great and their relationship is terrible. And most of us are always looking outside ourselves for what our partner's doing, and we end up doing an exchange. We're evaluating what they're giving, what we're getting, and it becomes a transaction, and nothing grows from a transaction.
Nothing grows from a transaction. Remember that. Nothing grows from a
I
transaction.
reminded you we have options.
Paano
Right?
tayo
You don't want to
mag-grow
get to the edge,
kung
but if you
ano,
do, if you get to that
transactional
place of
lang?
no return, one option is stay, hate each other, and be separate and carry that into the next relationship. But a healthier one would be either recommit and grow it, or fall back in love and be the deepest friends possible, so that you can then grow with people that you're closer to. It's not like every relationship is right. If we can learn from a relationship, there's no failure. And if we can still have love and caring for someone we spend time with, that's beautiful. And you learn what messes it up. Depolarization, remember? Where people no longer have those opposite energies. And also, what happens is, all that stress then, you
Yeah, I'm
start to
acting like
overreact.
masculine
You start
to
feel
the...
that resistance, that resentment, that rejection, or worse, repression. You want to break that pattern up as soon as it happens and own responsibility. I'm feeling these feelings. It's not you. It's my past. I
no.
want you to know, if you feel this in me, it's not you, honey. It's my stuff, and I'm going to fix it. And that starts to change the game. Because if not, you start coming up with not being as connected, not more intimate, and then you have a story you're incompatible, and the whole thing gets worse and worse. So you break the pattern. And you break the pattern by owning it and by stepping forward. And then we did some Q&A with
All I
St.
wanna
Thomas.
do is find my way back into
See how lucky I
love.
am, right? And we shared with
I
you.
can
You know, what
make
is it
it
that gets in the way? What the
through
stories? And in the
without
end, we gave you those
way
3 C's
back
and those 4 U's.
into
Right?
love.
If you're a man and your woman doesn't feel seen, and by the way, my minister friend, I love you, brother, but I love that you caught that. She's not feeling seen, right? If they don't feel understood, it's hard to understand, but you can understand if you were in that body thinking the way they think, a different species, you'd feel the same way. So you want to honor it. And you want to make sure they feel safe. If it's a man, criticizing him is death. And you might call it coaching, but he sees it as criticism. You know, closing down would be death. Trying to control is death, but sincere praise, opening when it's hard, and just allowing instead of controlling, and you will have a different relationship. How many scored yourself on this and found areas you could immediately improve that could improve your relationship?
Yeah,
There's
I'm
noise out
into
there, that's true.
being closed up.
And remember, one thing we talked about is men are trained to solve a problem and women want to share it. It's hard for men to understand this. So here's a little quick 2-second video to remind you of that principle.
Can I me a Christy?
No, wrong video, guys. Wrong video.
Wrong video pa.
This is a principle around relationship. That was a different video. That's a little horror video we might have used. It's a commercial. Here we go. There we go. You gotta start it fresh. We can't hear it.
And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me. And
The nail.
I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head. And it's relentless. And
The nail.
I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know
Talk about her
if it's
pain.
ever going to stop.
Sabi ko na. I watched this already many times.
Head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there.
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing.
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
Yeah, we don't want to get fixed. I don't want to get fixed. I just wanted you to be there to
Fine, I will
listen.
Fine.
It's just, sometimes it's like, there's this achy, I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
That sounds really hard.
Panoorin nyo kasi wag nandyan pa yan. Baka nandyan pa yung mga yun.
Ow!
Umalis nga kayo
You
dyan.
just don't.
Pag kayo nandyan, may niligay na akong link ko. Pumunta kayo dyan sa link. Ako nakikita nyo eh. Sinisave ko lang to. Kaya yan nilive ko. Kasi wala akong memory. Tapos, so that I have something to look back to when I am old and wrinkly, ganon. It's not for you, it's for me. Selfish to be selfless.
So, gentlemen, I hope that was instructive for you when it gets to relationship. So, stand up and stretch for a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Stand up and stretch, and when I want you to
Ayaw
do
ko
that,
na
I'm
yun.
going to integrate
Pero
all
tuloy
this.
nga
Stand
siya.
up, stretch your body out. Find somebody on the screen and say, I own you, and outdo their energy, ladies and gentlemen. Go!
Uy! May nanonood po kasi eh. This is what we do in training with Tony Robbins. Kala nyo ah. We just, exercising and finding your energy. My time is 4:09 a.m.
Outdo their energy, ladies and gentlemen. Outdo their energy.
This is what I do for 5 days. So, yung mga tutupin ko, Diyos ko Lord. Sino yun? Galing yung energy ni Kuya. This is what I'm working on kasi low energy kasi ako eh. Pero G.
High fives everywhere. Let's go.
Woo! 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 High five.
You know how this works. Quick sip of water. And then break up that energy again.
Kala nyo baliw ako, no? Mas marami pang baliw sa akin buong mundo. 15,700 people are doing this. So, we're gonna put something glittery dito. Alam niyo ba guys na hindi ako magaling mag-makeup? Tsaka kasi hindi ako mahilig mag-makeup. I feel like mukha akong bakla pagka masyadong mag-makeup. Kaya lipstick lang and eyeliner. That's it.
All right, so here's
And
what I can
BB
do. I'm going to
cream.
give you five. You and I both know
That's it.
information without
Ayoko nang
action
masyadong
is death.
makapalang makeup.
Like affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion, right?
What?
So I want to give you 5 action steps. And if you take these 5 action steps, you're going to find yourself in a really extraordinary place. And they're very simple. So let's jot them down. First,
Action
simple as
steps.
it is, you need to get clear on exactly what it is you really want. And honestly,
I want to
where you
get
really
married
are.
this year.
Because the only way you improve your life
Actions.
is to know what you want and where you are. Because you need a map. Right now, there's a gap. How many
Get
of you
clear
have a
on
gap
what you
between
really
where
want.
you are and where you want to be financially or physically?
I
or
want that
relationship?
amazing
Who's got a
man.
gap out there? Make some noise. You got a gap out there. The gap will never close.
And what
All
you
you do is
really
focus
want.
on where you are and how bad it is.
And what you really
The gap
want.
will never close if you bullshit yourself about where you
And
are
where
and
you
try to
wanna
pretend
go.
it's better than it is.
And
That's
where
why
you
we
wanna
wanna
go.
see it as it
I
is.
want to
The
travel
truth
the
says
world.
what?
But I wanted to step on you, like travel, first travel abroad would be in Paris,
The more clear you are about what
and
you
then
really
New
want
York.
and the details of what you want, the more easy
Get
it's
clear
gonna
on
be
what
to
you
achieve
really
it.
want and where you
Because our
want to go.
brain, there's a part of our brain
Tapos
that
go to
once
my
it knows what
sisters
you
in
want and
Dubai,
it's really desirous. How many of you have ever had a goal
and
or
then in
dream
Korea.
and you wanted it so
Shit, ang
bad,
sakit
you didn't
ng
know how to
ulo
achieve
ko.
it, but you couldn't stop thinking about it, and then things started happening. Like you met somebody who had an insight, or who's ever had something you wanted so bad, you didn't even have a plan. But somehow, because you kept focusing on it, it came
Yep.
together, you met people, the situation came together, and it really happened. Who's had this happen before? If you've had it, make some noise so I know you got it out there,
Manifesting
ladies and
it. I said I just wanted to be a writer.
gentlemen. Put in the
I really
chat,
wanted to
when I
be
say
a
make some
writer,
noise, like,
but
give me a chat. Yes, it has happened, right?
I did
So
not
that's
know that it will
happened.
be through
Think about how did you
RTD.
make that happen? How did that work? Well, one way
Nahuhulog
it
na
works
talaga ako kay
probably is there's
RTD.
some things in your
Hulog na
life
hulog na.
today that I bet once were a dream or a goal or
Sana
a
hindi
desire.
natin pinapanood.
And the truth of the matter is somehow they're in your life today and they once seemed impossible. Who's got something like this? Once it was a dream that seemed impossible, today it's in your life. It might be a job, it might be a relationship, it might be an income.
100%.
Then I want you to just take 2 minutes. And I want you to sit up in your chair and I want you to write down 1 or 2 things that are in your life today that once were a dream or a goal. And I want you to write down
I'm just another writer,
what did you do second? I really want you to
trapped
think just
within
something in 2
my
minutes. All right, we'll
youth.
put some music on.
A
And write down
hesitant
what was something once was a
spider,
dream, seemed impossible.
trapped
What is in your life
within
today?
an
How good was that?
eye.
But then how did you go about doing it in 2 minutes?
Sometimes when we touch, the honesty is too much. I just have to close my eyes and hide. I wanna hold you till I die, till we both break down and cry. I wanna hold you till the fear in me subside. To be a writer and ano bang ko? A songwriter. Hindi. Yeah, I thought it was so impossible, but it did happen. Songwriter and to be a writer. That's the best. I don't have, pero siguro scale up ako this year. Scale up. I will not just be contented with, writing, but I wanted it that people will know. Actually, yung pinakaunang ko is just, I want yung mga pamangkin ko na ma-realize nila yon, that they can reach their dreams. Kasi ang dami ko mga pamangkin na talented. That's why I'm still going through with my dreams, na lagi kong sasabihin sa mga pamangkin ko, you reach for this, you go for this, kaya mo yan. But then I myself is not doing that. So I wanted to be an example to my pamangkins. So I love them like my own children. And that's what happened. Why I'm still going through and pushing through with my dreams beyond my limits. That's it. That's why. Isa, nandyan, may 1 million. Kana, sige, nag-stay ka dyan kahit ayaw ko na nandyan ka May nilagay na akong link dyan. But still, you're still watching. I don't know who you are. Hindi ko alam paano ba nalalaman kung sino nanood. Kasi hindi ko naman to para panoorin niyo ako.
While you're there, feeling certain now that you can make this something happen because you've done it
It is for
before,
myself.
I'd like you to write down, what do you really want most now?
What's
What do you
been the
want
breakthrough
most
you had in your
career,
life?
or what do you want
How
most
did you
in
make
your
it happen?
relationship? Or what do you want most in your body or your energy? What do you really want? If you weren't afraid to
Because I
fail,
thought before, hindi ko
what would you
kaya.
say you
Like,
wanted?
when I was a teacher
What would you say you
before.
commit to?
I was a
30
teacher before for
seconds,
9
what
years,
do I
and
really
then
want?
there's
Be
a lot of
specific.
things
Don't
na
say
gusto kong
lose some
gawin.
weight, lose
And then
25
natakot
pounds,
ako.
or
So,
create the love of my life, or reawaken the love of my life together.
I love of my life.
Or transform
Love of
something
my
right now
life.
to go to the next level.
What do you want most na? Oh, fuck.
What's something
Sulat
once
ko
was
muna. Baka
impossible?
mawala.
You made it happen.
What's
How'd
been
you make it happen?
breakthrough? What's
What
a
do you want
breakthrough?
now? Because when you realize you made something impossible happen, it might bring you a little more certainty.
What's been breakthrough?
That's it.
Breakthrough.
And what would be an action you would take? What would be an action you would take to achieve that goal? What's a small action? What's a big action?
How?
Right away.
And then,
It would give you some momentum. So
what
not
do you
just
want
thinking
most
about it.
now? Oh my gosh, I just wanted to get married with the man in my
What would
dreams.
excite you to achieve
Chatties.
in the next
Chatties.
90 days to 6 months? Maybe write down 2 specific things you want to achieve. Maybe one's personal, one's business or career. What's a goal
Personal.
that if you could achieve it or make huge progress in the next 6 months or less, it would excite the hell out of you. Get you up early,
Be a traveler.
late,
Travel with me,
be a reason to learn and master these skills because all these skills will won't they?
Travel with a travel buddy and a fitness buddy.
What do you want? Why do you want it? What are you going to do?
Personal business and then what? What's the other one? Family? Oh, fuck.
What's one or two, real quick, one or two things that if you could achieve it, one personal maybe, one career or business, that would excite you. And don't pick something that's pie in the sky. Don't
What
pick something
excite-
too easy. What's something that you really committed yourself?
Excites me. I wanted to be a
Figure it out, you make it
traveler
happen, and it would excite you.
with a travel buddy. Traveler with a travel buddy. With a travel
What would happen
buddy.
if you really achieved this? How would your life be different?
Establish my own.
That's it.
Establish
You got about 20
establish my
seconds left.
own business.
What would excite
Coffee
you?
shop actually ang pinaka-dream ko.
6 months or less, even 12 months if you wanted. Some things take a little longer. That's okay. But you
Ay,
know, you
tuk-tuk
committed yourself,
ko na
you
wala ang
find the way. You
signal.
built the right skills, the right mindset, the right psychology, the right momentum. 10 seconds left to finish up.
Hello, wait lang po.
What do you want? Why do you want it? What are you going to do to make it happen?
Nawala yung tinype ko.
Thanks for sharing. This is awesome. Some of you are dropping it in. Thank you.
Establish my own business coffee shop. Wala kasi akong ballpen eh. Hirapan tuloy ako walang Diyo.
5 seconds.
Ah, fuck.
4,
Coffee.
3, 2, 1.
Loan.
How many got at least one or two things? Let me ask you this: how many got one thing that used to be impossible and now it's in your life and you made it happen? You know you did it. Who's got something like that? Make some noise.
2.
So stand up for a moment with that kind of certainty, the certainty that you know you can make it happen. Stand up just for a moment. Stand up, shake your body out. So you're not
Stand up
just
there.
thinking. Make a move that makes you feel strong. Make your move. Make your move. Make your move. Make your move. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Now close your eyes and imagine you just achieved both of these goals, or one or two of these goals. You just made it happen. And I want you to celebrate just for a moment like it just happened. With your voice and body, go ahead. Imagine you just did it. See it, feel it. Who benefits? Get ready. Whose life improves? Not just yours. The
I
people
had
you
my
love.
tattoo na.
And then just feel like it just happened. And you get ready to
Ito sa
celebrate the
likod.
victory of your life. Get ready. Like an
Ito na
energy of
lang.
anticipation. Think about the actions you can take to make that happen. this down if you would. Suffering never comes from the facts of your life. We don't suffer because of what's actually happened, the facts in our life. Suffering is in the perception of those facts. Jot it down if you would. All suffering is not in the facts of my life. The facts aren't what's making me suffer. It's my perception of the facts that are making me suffer.
Perception of the facts.
My perception. So I'll give you an example. Let's say if your mother had died and you're feeling sad, it may be a natural experience. But if you're still
Hello sa 3 million na nanonood.
6 months or a
Huwag
year
kayo
from
dyan
now,
manood sa akin. Doon kayo sa
you are
link.
not
Pumunta kayo
suffering
doon.
because your mother died.
I'm just
You are
saving it
suffering
na wala
because
yung
your
signal
perception
ko.
is she shouldn't have. As if you know what the universe or God has in store. How many follow what I'm talking about here? Say I. The
Ayay.
beautiful thing is when you understand this, see, the reason people keep suffering is, no, I can't because this happened in my life, this happened to my child, this happened to my parents, this happened to me, but it doesn't matter. It's the perception. It's not what happened. We all have the happenings. We all have those horrible situations. And yet, if we can develop that core belief I talked about on the first day, that belief that people live around me day and night, it becomes a part of you. It's just their nature. And that understanding that life is always happening
For us,
not
not
to
to
me. Even
us.
though it looks like life's happening to me, it's actually a lesson. There's something there that's happening for me that's going to make life better. How many of you have had an experience in your life where something happened that was so painful, so terrible, you'd never want to go through it again in your lifetime? And you sure wouldn't want anybody you love to go through it. But 5 years afterwards, 10 years, 2 years later, you went, I never want to go through that again, but I understand why God or the universe gave it to me because it made me so much stronger, or it made me care so much, or it made me come up with new answers that have now made my life better. How many can
It
relate to
actually
somewhere
made
in
me
your
connect
life where
more
it
to
seemed so horrible,
people
but years later
and
you
help
saw the
them
higher
out from
meaning? Give
that
it up there, ladies and gentlemen, if you got that.
suffering as well, from what I had been through.
So often out of those pains, we create suffering, but what
Paano
makes
kaya
us
to
keep suffering
i-mirror?
is limiting beliefs. I'm not enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I'm not young. I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not funny enough. I'm not handsome enough. I've tried everything. Nothing works. If you succeed, people attack you. All these things. God's punishing me. All those different beliefs that you... I've got a question for you. How many of you out there, how many, put in the chat if it's true too, how many of you out there have beliefs that intellectually you know better? You know it's bull. But emotionally, they still grab you or pull you back. Who's got some of these out there? Put in the chat box, or if you're on the Zoom, give us some noise out there, all of you. Make some noise so we know you're there if that's true.
Ari.
So you've got to get rid of those. And it's so hard because you're in it. So decades ago, 2 decades ago, I created this process called Dickens that we do at Unleash the Power Within. And it's about 3 hours, but it eradicates.
Nawawala yung signal ko eh.
So not intellectual, they're in your body. It links so much pain to it that your brain goes, never again. And then we replace it with a new belief. So you talk to anybody who's been Unleashed the Power Within, one of the peak experiences for them is this Dickens process because it completely rewires you. But you've got to rewire you because remember I said the other day, beliefs create and beliefs destroy things brown. You'll call beige stuff brown so you can feel successful, right? Or red stuff burgundy. Burgundy, call it red. Our brains will find a way to get there. So the way you change is you've got to change the conditioning. You can't just change
I
your intellect
am
because you probably intellectually
the
already
strongest
have
and
these
the
beliefs of BS.
prettiest.
But we got to rewire them. You have
I
to
feel
crush,
like
destroy, annihilate,
powerful or in
replace.
control when
After
I'm
you annihilate
red.
stories with
That's
the
what
truth
it
that
makes
sets
me
you free, with a
feel
higher
like.
purpose. And when that
When
happens,
I'm in
everything
pink,
changes.
it
Your
makes
relationship,
me
your business, your finances, your life.
pretty,
That's what happened to me.
happy,
That's why I
ganun.
went from 38
But if
pounds
it's red,
heavier than I am now and never
it
gaining
makes
it
me
back,
feel like
totally broke, walking
I
rooms
can
feeling
do
alone and
anything.
lonely and 100 people around me, feeling sorry for myself, to transforming everything, including my business, my economics, and everything else. I mean, I went from making $38,000 a year in 1 year to making over $1 million. I don't tell that to
Gusto ko yung
impress you. I tell it
ganun.
because it impresses me to me. It's like I can't even believe it. But it's because the way I did it was not strategy. It was first the beliefs, which is story, and the state. But I wired it. And that's why I'm here today. It's not enough to know. Knowing is not enough. It's
Yep.
all about execution, which means conditioning. So after a while, you don't think about it. You just do it. You just do it. You just do it. So it's critical you find a way to do this. And I'll tell you philosophically, Jim Rohn taught me a philosophy that changed my life. It was really simple. I was talking about things I want to achieve and do and make happen. He goes, Tony, if you want an extraordinary life, you have to adopt a philosophy. And, at that time, I didn't think philosophy mattered. I was more interested in strategy. How do you do it, right? And strategies are invaluable. Like I said, I could save you 10 years with the right strategy in your business or your personal life and do it all the time. But the philosophy is going to determine whether you act on it or not. And the philosophy, he called it the philosophy of stretching. Jot it down. The philosophy of stretching. What is the philosophy of stretching? He said, Tony, it's really simple. If you find yourself saying, I can't do something, I can't do it because I don't have the time, I can't do it, I don't have the money, I can't do it because I don't have the resources, I can't do it because I don't know the right people. Anytime you start finding yourself, you say, I can't do something, and especially if it's really hard, then you must do it and you must take action immediately. Even if you don't know how, even if you don't think it's possible, you've got to develop a habit that says, if I can't, then I must. And I said, well, Jim, does that mean if I can't jump off a cliff that I must? He said, don't be stupid, right? He said, what I mean is if there's something that you could do right now that can make you better, make you stronger, make you more alive, make you happy, make you healthier, something you do to make your business better, something you do to make your family better, but it's really uncomfortable or you don't think you have the time or the money, the resources, he said, you've got to train yourself that when you say I can't, then you say I must, and you do something immediately. I remember saying to him, I said, well, that doesn't sound like a very secure life. He said, if you want security, go to prison. He said, if you want freedom, you got to push yourself and do the things that are uncomfortable and stop allowing yourself to make excuses. And even if you don't know how, if you just commit to do it, the universe moves to those who commit. Remember I said the other day, if you want to take the island, burn your boats. Because if there's no going back, it's amazing how human beings find an answer that'll shift them and make things happen. And here's what gets in the way real fast. A lot of people, especially during COVID or in their normal life, we've all been through disappointments. Who's had lots of disappointments in relationship and business and finance, right?
Sobra.
And what happens is we don't want to feel disappointed. And so after a while, we start developing these limiting beliefs. And they start to crush us instead of crushing them. And there's something called learned helplessness. You may have heard of it. Learned helplessness is when you've been disappointed so many times that now it seems like there's no way and you believe there's no way. In fact, I'll give you an example. It's a horrible example. I don't support this, but scientists will take a monkey, and they've done this with dogs too. It's pretty horrible. And they'll bring them in a room that looks like a mini version of like a tennis court. It's about 1/3 the size. But it has 4 colored squares, right? And a net in the middle. So 2 squares on one side, 2 on the other. And they're red and yellow and green and blue. And they let the dog or the monkey in, and the dog or monkey, let's say, hits the blue square, and it's electrified. And so they're screaming in pain, and they bounce around. They don't know what to do, and so they try anything, and all of a sudden, gradually, they get off the blue square, they're on the green square, and they're fine. So what do you think happens the next time they put them in that room? Instantly, avoids the blue square, goes straight to the green square. And then these horrible scientists electrify the green square and the blue square. What do you think happens to this poor animal? It's freaking out. Oh my God, pain here, pain everywhere. Everything's pain. Who's ever felt like no matter what you do, you're screwed? No matter what you do, you're going to have pain. Who can relate to this in some way, right? If I do this, I'm screwed. If I do that. And so what happens is we freak out, but eventually the monkey or the dog will jump over the net. It's a small net, like the size of a tennis court. And on the other side, let's say lands on the yellow square, and it's not electrified. And guess what these wonderful scientists do? They now electrify that square as well. Now the animal can't jump over one side, and it goes to the last space in the room, the red square, and you can guess what they do. Then they electrify all the squares. Next time they put the animal in the room, it jumps over the net, but it's still, all the squares are electrified, and guess what they do? They go into what's called learned helplessness. They go in the corner, and they give up, and they bite themselves, and usually defecate all over the place. Now, thank God you and I are not a monkey or a dog. No one's putting us in those situations, but we can sometimes do it in our own head. And here's how we do it. There's 3 P's that you got to annihilate, crush, or destroy if they're getting in the way of your progress in a relationship or your career or your happiness or your health. These are the 3 P's that make learned helplessness. Number 1, you think the problem is permanent. Once you've had enough disappointment, sometimes your brain doesn't want to get disappointed, so it's a permanent problem. please write down, no problem is permanent. Only your soul is permanent.
Yeah.
Every problem can be solved. The pandemics are not forever. Winter is never forever. War is not forever. Nothing's forever. Everything changes. Everything eventually ends. Something new begins. That's part of life. Those are the seasons of life.
So there is really forever.
It is, because it's self-fulfilling.
My soul is
The second key that
permanent.
keeps people learn helplessness so they don't change, this belief's got to be annihilated, broken through, and that it's pervasive. That means that because my relationship's not great, my whole life is horrible. And you're forgetting you do have health, or you do have friends, or you do have a job, or you do have whatever. I can breathe. So, or my finances are messed up, so my whole life's over. It's not true. It's not permanent. It's not pervasive. And the third one is we think the problem is personal. There's something wrong with me. And if you start believing that, it becomes self-fulfilling. You give up, see, I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not smart enough, I always screw it up. So those 3 P's got to be destroyed. And again, I know some of you, I know many of you now.
What was the second
We're
one?
going to handle this.
Permanent.
You've got to handle this on your own. You've got to not just handle it intellectually. You've got to destroy it, crush it, and eliminate it. So just for a second, I want you to stand up just for a moment. Stand up just for a moment, if you would. Shake your body out just for a second, if you would. Make a move that makes you strong. Make a move. Make a move.
Mawawala na naman yung internet ko eh.
Say yes.
Yes.
Say yes. Say yes.
Yes.
Now, I want you to think about an area of your life that you really want to improve. It could be your body, your energy, your vitality, your strength. It could be a relationship you want to transform or you want to create. You don't have one.
Relationship. Yeah.
Could be changing careers. Could be taking your business to the next level, changing your finances.
Finances.
Really
Relationship and
passion, aliveness,
finances.
and happiness every day, no matter what happens. And what's a belief that's gotten in the way before? What's a belief that's gotten in the way of your progress? A belief about yourself or about other people or about relationship or about God or about money, about business? How many can think of a belief that maybe you know better intellectually, but it's in there and it gets in the way? How many got one of these that you can think of right away? Raise your hand if you can think of it right away. Stay standing and just type it in the chat if you would. What is that limiting belief that's got to go? What's that belief that gets in the way of what you really want?
What?
That's it. That's it. I can't do this. I'm so old. I'm not smart enough. I can't make the difference. I can't heal my body. I've tried everything. Oh, my ego's too big. Their ego's too big. I don't have enough money. I don't have the time. I can't do it. I'm tired. I'm too busy. There's no room. I got to do this for my kids. All great. Now, by the way, you can always find ways to justify, like legs, to put under the tabletop of that idea, but we want to sweep the legs. So just for a second, ask yourself, what is that belief costing you? In fact, just for a second, say it out loud. No one's around. Just, what does that belief cost you? What does it do? What does it get in the way of? What does it hurt? What does it destroy? Just say it out loud just for a second, ladies and gentlemen.
My confidence.
Out loud, or you can put it in, what does it destroy?
Confidence.
What does it get in the way of? You can put it in the chat box if you want. Costing me peace, making me feel old, taking away my happiness, costing me my time. It's hurting me. It hurts my family. It messes up everything. It messes up my sanity. It takes away my self-esteem. It takes away my ability to make money. It takes away my energy and doubt. Awesome. So you
It
know
messes
it's
up
got to
my
be eradicated.
relationship.
So I can't do that here in one moment, but let's just get you where you feel that sense of strength again. Make you move. Make you move. Make you move. Make you move. Make the sound of unstoppable intensity, an unstoppable level of intensity.
Woo!
Come on.
Woo!
Unstoppable intensity.
Di mo rin mag-go.
That's it. Unstoppable intensity.
I'm unstoppable.
Do it again even louder.
I'm a pusher with no break. I'm invincible. I'll do every single day. I'm unstoppable.
Just for a moment. Just for a moment, to give you a little taste. Just for a moment. What's the opposite to the bullshit story you told yourself? That lie that's getting in your way, what's the truth?
That I am
What's the
magnificent.
truth? What's something
I
that
am
if you believed
wonderful.
in your soul, it would free you. It would make you move forward instead of pull back. It would excite you. It would make you proud.
Lo, nanonood pa rin siya. Huwag ka na manood dito. Doon ka na sa link.
Frustrated or depressed or angry. Put it right down the notes. What's a new belief? What's a belief that could really shift you if you could get it in your body? It wasn't just in your intellect. What's a belief? What's a truth would set you free? I'm more than enough. My soul knows I'm enough. I'm good enough. I'm lovable. I'm strong. There's nothing that can truly stop me when I'm focused. I'm truly capable. I can find the money. I
Bakit
can
late
find the
ako?
time. I can make it happen. I have a team. My soul is invincible. I like that. Very nice. All right, celebrate just one of those new beliefs for a moment. Make a sound that celebrates that belief.
Yes.
If you live by that belief, how would your life change? If you live by that belief, how would your life change?
I am the universe. I can go anywhere. Gugo ako sa ano? Sa Mars.
Yes. All right,
Sarap ng
somebody
ganyan,
nearby.
ah,
Yo,
yung
you
mga-
rock, baby. Virtually, you rock. Grab a
Rekiran.
seat. Grab a seat feeling strong. Now, if that feels good, if you at least got a perception of what's in the way and what needs to change, you at least got that. We got to rewire it. You got to crush it and replace it. But how many going to feel what needs to be done at least right now? Make some noise if you know what needs to be done. And by the way, you might say, well, how do I do that? You have to do it physically, and you have to do enough repetition with precise precision. But I will
Repetition.
tell you this. A belief is nothing but a feeling of absolute certainty about something. If you believe that you're really smart, then you feel certain you're smart. If you believe you're sexy, then you're certain that way. If you feel uncertain, you have doubt. And what we really got to do is crush those
'Cause I am
limitations,
beautiful,
replace them with
no
that
matter
certainty.
what they
Again,
say.
I do this event, I'm not holding back here, but I want
Words
to give you a taste. You can
can
also
bring
do it on your own when you
me
got to. Because
down.
if you know what you want, and you know where you are, and you really want it,
No,
but you don't crush
'cause
what's
I
getting in the
am
way, you and I both know
beautiful
what's going to happen.
in every
Disappointment.
single
But if you change that,
way.
you'll have a momentum that
Words
really changes everything.
can
And I've had
bring
the privilege of
me
living it and seeing so
down.
many people do it.
So
Let's
don't
go
you
to
bring
the
me
third
down
action step.
today.
I call it watch your language. And that
Watch
does not
your
mean like, using a word that maybe you're not used to or someone else uses. I want to be more specific. When I say watch your language, our words shape the way we think and how we feel.
Ano na yan?
How we
Ba't
feel
kulang-kulang
determines what
yung
we
ano
do.
ko?
And what we do determines whether you get
5
results.
keys.
How
Ano
many
yung
follow
number
this? Say
1?
I. Say I.
What?
So if you and I are going to get results, we have to become aware of language. Remember the triad? There's changing your physiology, there's changing your focus, but then there's being aware that language creates meaning. So if you use certain words, you're going to feel lifted, other ones driven down. And I'm not talking about going to your mirror and chanting, you're good enough, you're strong enough, and people really like you. Like Stuart Smalley on, some old version of Saturday Night Live. No, I'm talking about being aware that there are certain words that you use, everyone individually uses, that put your energy up and some that put it down. Certain words and phrases start to limit you. Certain words and phrases free you. But I don't just mean speaking them, I mean the habit and the pattern of speaking them and communicating them. So if you have emotions you don't like, let's say you get overwhelmed or pissed off or frustrated or sad or whatever, there's a physiology to that. You're focusing on things to that, but you also have some habitual words. Let me tell you how I figured this out. And by the way, I call this transformational vocabulary. Because by transforming the words you use regularly, you literally change your biochemistry, your emotions, your thinking, and your actions. But if you're unaware, then these words can take over
yung
your
sa
life and
technical
limit you without
stuff.
even
Ay,
knowing it.
Jesus.
So a belief is a set of words we say over and over again to ourselves
Technically,
with so much certainty that we begin to believe it,
challenged.
and then when we look for ways to justify
So
it,
maybe
then pretty
that's
soon
what
we're
I
stuck.
need to improve on.
But you can just eliminate the words and start to change. So let me give you an example. Years ago, many years ago, 20 plus years ago, maybe 25 years ago, I was in a business relationship with two partners. And they were both very dynamic people.
Yeah,
One was a super wealthy guy and really, really smart, really centered guy. And the other guy was a really passionate man, really driven. I really liked him. And he just give everything to whatever he did. And so without boring you with all the details, the company, how it was, the point is one day we had an opportunity and we were in a negotiation with a company where if we made the deal, it would be really good for them and really good for us. And this is probably 30 years ago. I'm young in business and I'm a giver. So I love to give. I'm not stupid, but it's like I'm happy to give you more of what you want if together we can do something bigger, make a bigger pie, right? So without going through all the details, I I speak up in the middle of a negotiation and I put all the cards on the table. And one of my partners looks at me like, can't believe I'm doing this. And I say, look, guys, here's our costs. Here's where things are. This is what we want to do with you guys. Here's the full open, kimono. Let's do a deal that's fair for each other. And I laid the whole thing out, thinking that by being open and honest in every way, we could find something that was a win-win. And the people we're dealing with didn't play win-win. They played win-lose. And they took the information I had and they twisted it, and then they started to use it against us without going through the boring details. It was really, really infuriating. It was really terrible. And it showed such bad faith, and we were caught up in the middle. Now it looked like we could get hurt even if we didn't do the deal because of the information I'd given them. So I screwed up. It's my fault. Just thinking, being honest and open, let's get to the answer quicker. Let's not play games and circle and negotiate. Let's just put it on the table and find a great way to play. Well, when it was used against us, I got really angry, right? Really angry. I mean, I was pissed off, angry. I was mad as hell. And then I noticed, though, because I was in the middle of it, I couldn't help it, that one of my partners, the one who's really passionate guy, he was insane. He was like, these people, I can't believe this. He goes, I feel like they're like murdering our child. He goes, he just went on and on. He goes, I'm enraged. I'm this. I'm furious. And I was really mad, but he was so crazy that I was like, calm down, dude. It's not that bad, right? How many of you ever had somebody get so intense? You're in an upset state, but they were more intense, so you found yourself calming them down. Who knows what I'm talking about there? It makes a noise. Have you ever done this, right? And he kept on saying, I'm furious. I'm enraged. I could kill him, right? And I was like, calm down. In the middle of calming him down, though, because my brain's always noticing patterns. It's just how I work, right? I noticed my other partner didn't even seem to be upset. And it kind of pissed me off a little bit that he wasn't pissed off. It's like, so I remember saying to him, I said, like, you don't even seem to be upset. I mean, don't you know what they just did? Don't you see what they're doing? He's like, yeah, we got to stop. I mean, I was like, they're murdering our child. They're murdering our business. I'm enraged. I was like, calm down, calm down. And he says to me, he goes, well, yeah, he goes, I'm a little peeved. And when he said peeved, I said, peeved? I've never even heard somebody use that word peeved. You're peeved? He goes, yeah, I'm a little, I don't know, I'm a little annoyed. Annoyed? Even the word annoy sounds like you're annoyed me. Annoyed. I'm peeved and annoyed. And I looked at him like he was crazy, but I could see he really wasn't that upset. And I was like, I started to think for a moment. I go, I don't think I've ever seen you really upset. Because I rarely get really upset. I said, what about that time when the IRS, there was this friend of mine is very wealthy, and the IRS is a great organization, but like any organization, they have different people. And there was a guy that when he came and saw his home and the way he lived, he just tried to destroy my friend, and he did a bunch of things weren't right. My friend actually won in court after 2 years. All things this guy did were incorrect and wrong, he won. But it took him 2 years, a lot of money, a lot of time. I said, and didn't that piss you off? Because that's what I would have felt, right? But then it make you mad as hell. He goes, I'm going to kill them. I'm enraged. I said, it's not even you. Calm down. And he goes, well, no. He goes, I was really, annoyed and maybe a little tinkled. He literally said tinkled. And I looked at him like, that's the stupidest word I've heard. That's even worse than annoyed. Although annoyed sounds worse. Tinkled, peeved, annoyed. And he smiled. And I saw it was sincere. And so this thing went through my head. We all have the same event, right? We're all going to be equally affected by this in a very negative way. I'm mad as hell. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. He's furious and rage, want to kill somebody. And he's peeved, annoyed, and tinkled. I thought to myself. Then I remember asking him, I said, well, why don't you ever get upset? He said, because if you get upset, the other guy wins. He's really competitive. And now I understood. But I remember in the moment going, there's a lesson from the universe. There's a lesson from God here right now. Like, I get pissed off a lot at that time in my life. I thought I get really mad a lot. You know why? Because anything that was really irritating, the 3 words I would use most often is mad as hell, angry, or pissed off. It usually started with pissed off. And my other buddies gets really angry a lot because when anything bad happens, the words he uses are more intense. How many are following this now? Say I. Like enraged, furious, right? Or kill him, right? It's pretty intense. And my buddy here, he's like right in the center of it all, and he's peeved, annoyed, and tinkled. And I began to realize my vocabulary, the words I used when I was most upset, were creating my biochemistry. And so I decided to use my buddy's words. And it was so stupid. I go, this really tinkles me, right? And I was so stupid, it made me laugh. I went from pissed off to laughing. How many follow what I'm talking about here? But it makes sense, make some noise, so I know you're getting it out here, ladies and gentlemen. So it's like, wow. I began to realize, write this down if you would, the words that you link to your experiences in life become your experiences. The words you link to your experiences change your biochemistry. And if you change your vocabulary, you will change your life. So I just showed it to you with good. Here's this guy. I remember some of the guys that know Jocko said, they're on this campaign, and a bunch of the weapons that were supposed to be delivered by an airlift, the helicopter was knocked out. They didn't have the weapons, and they're going into battle, and they're outnumbered like 50 to 1. And Jocko's thing is good, because we're just going to get more strategic. We're going to get even stronger. His vocabulary changes his state. How many saw it on the video? You could feel it. It was authentic. He wasn't just making shit up, right? Pretty amazing. So, like I told you, when I was in that laundry room, feeling sorry for myself, depressed, thinking, should I stick around or not in this life? Being dramatic in my head. Guess what? I'm so depressed. And that's why I was like, no more. That's not part of my vocabulary. I've never used that word again since that time when I was 17 years old. And I can tell you with total honesty, I have never felt depressed. I felt angry, pissed off, tired, exhausted, but never depressed. Because I realized when I was depressed, I couldn't do anything. When I was depressed, it felt like life wasn't worth living. So it might be time for you to discover what are some of the words you use that put you in a lowered state, and what's an alternative word that would make you laugh or make you smile or at least soften it. Because if you watch your language, if you change that language, you'll change everything. So here's a little assignment for you. Later on, not now because I'm almost out of time, we got two more great things to give you. Make a list. What are some of the words you use when you're really angry or really sad or really upset? And then come up with 2 or 3 other words that would be more humorous, that would break the pattern, and then you got to practice it. You start to go, this really is pissing me off. You go, this really peeves me, right? And you do it deliberately and several times. Because again, you can't wait till the problem happens. You got to practice in advance so that you wire your nervous system. Like everything else I'm telling you, it's not enough to understand this. You got to wire it so it happens automatically, and then all of a sudden you're going to be feeling great. And by the way, this will change your relationship, because there's words you use in your relationship, either in your partner's presence or not, or you don't have a partner because you use some of these words, and they put you in the wrong state. How many are going to do this exercise for yourself?
I have a
Figure out what
partner.
your words are, what to change. Make
Wow,
some
I have
noise
a
if you're going to do it,
partner.
ladies and gentlemen.
I wanted to...
2 more action steps, and then I'm going to introduce
Own
something really
that
cool, and at the end I got something
partner,
really fun for you.
but-
So first, the 4th one. What's the 4th action step? So let's review, right? You want to make sure you're clear what you want, really want, why you want it, where you really are, come up with some action steps. Then you got to crush, destroy, annihilate those limiting beliefs that are getting in the way, and then replace them. And you got to do it in your body, not just in your head. You do it with me, I'll do it with you, or you got to do it on your own. But you got to do it. And you got to do it over and over until it's so powerful, it just happens. It's got to become a habit. If you have to wait to think, it's not going to work. The old pattern will take over. Third, watch your TV, your transformational vocabulary. What are the words that put you in the wrong states? If you replace them, you're going to change that relationship. You're going to change the way you feel. You're going to change your actions. Fourth, most importantly, is you got to take massive what, my friends?
Action.
Write down, massive action is the cure-all. Massive action is the cure-all. See, when people say, oh, I don't like how things are, change it. I don't like my body, change it. I don't like my relationship, change it. I don't like the way I feel, change it. Is there a way to change? Yes or no, guys? Yes or no? Give me a shout out. Yes or no? But in order to change it, you got to get yourself in the right, what, my friends? State. You got to change your physiology. You got to change your breath. You got to change your voice. You got to make that change. If you just try to take massive action in a low state, it won't happen. So you got to do something like I do every morning. Like, I wake up some mornings, it's rough. I I've traveled, I'm exhausted, I've had no sleep, 2 or 3 hours, and I got to get up and do 12 hours on stage. So what do? First thing, boom, go in the cold plunge. Now, if there isn't a cold plunge because I'm traveling, then I do this freezing shower. Sometimes I'll even go and get ice and put in the bath because I'll just drop in to make this radical change. Or I'll go on a short run, but I'll do a sprint at the end where I push myself harder than I can imagine.
Drink cold water.
Lift some weights. And I just push hard, not easy stuff, not like 100 little movements, just a few strong where you really engage your mind and your body to push through. Because when you do that, just like the jumping in the water where I don't negotiate, it's like when I say go, we go. I don't go, well, wait till I feel warmer, wait a moment till I'm ready. It's like, boom, I say go, we go. I've trained my mind. Again, it's not intellectual understanding, it's training. That's why I do these events. That's why we're doing what we're doing even right now. But you want to do it immersion-wise. You got to do it over and over again until it's there. But once it's there, once you're trained to take action, you're going to get momentum. Because a lot of people say, but what if I take the wrong action? What if I'm going the wrong direction? What if there's a fork in the road and I take the wrong direction? Well, better take the wrong direction and go full tilt because you'll find out it's not working and you can change it. But if you sit there at the crossroads going, I don't know what to do, I don't want to make a mistake, then you've already made the biggest mistake of all. So one of the most important principles that absolutely changed my life, I just came across it myself. I didn't read it somewhere. I just started to realize early in my life, like when I was 19, and I just started to really grow. I started to conquer some of my patterns. I started to get clear what I wanted and where I am, and I started figuring out what the obstacles were and annihilating them, and I started having better language because I was doing incantations, right? Everything was getting momentum. And so now I started to get myself taking action, but I developed a specific principle for action. Just like Jim Rohn's principle, it says if you can't do it, then you must. By the way, how many buy that theory that if all you did was say, if I can, I must, would change your life? Absolutely changed my life. But I combine that with, I am never leaving the sight of a decision. I'm never leaving the sight of setting a goal or making a decision without doing something in that moment that guarantees I have to follow through later on. Because how many of you have done this? How many of you have had good intentions? Like you got excited about something, you said, I'm going to make this happen, and you didn't follow through in that moment because you're busy, right? You're going to make it happen, and you went on to the next thing and handled other stuff, and then a month later, 2 months later, you're out of state. You know, when you made that decision, you were in a peak state, but now you're out of state, and now all the obstacles show up when you're low energy, and you got all the other things to do, and you didn't follow through. Who's had a thing where you really said you were committed, and then you got caught up in other bullshit and didn't follow through? Who's done this? Make some noise if you've done it. Who'd like to make that never happen again as long as you live? Say aye.
Because I've heard
Say
that,
aye.
words breaks me down
Don't
kasi.
ever again, from this day forward, when you're learning something
Words
valuable, when you're
breaks
making a
hearts
decision of something you're going to do,
and dreams.
when you set a goal, in that moment,
Words breaks
when you
hearts,
say, I'm going to do
dreams,
something, in
and
that moment, you got to do something that commits you to follow
energy.
through later on when you're not in state. So you got to make the phone call and book something, or you got to roll in the class, or you got to hire the coach, or you got to go schedule the lunch where you're going to say, it's over, we got to end this, or I got to let you go, or what. The tough things, while you're in state, you got to schedule and you got to send the email, you got to act on it, because if you act on it while you're in state and you commit something and you do something that commits you later on, you'll keep the momentum. And you know from sports, you can see a team that's dominating, they have all the momentum, and then somebody steals the ball, it goes the other way, and the whole game changes because the momentum changes. Momentum comes from massive action. And by the way, if you try something and it doesn't work, what should you do? Try something else. That doesn't work. Try something else. Just keep taking massive action, because if you keep changing, you'll find the way. Now you can speed this up by modeling people that already have results. Remember, success leaves clues. So if I see somebody who's lost 45 pounds and kept it off for 10 years, they're doing something different. Maybe I ought to see what those actions are and model those, copy some of those, right? If I see somebody's got a great relationship and they're not just hanging out, they're in love and they're passionate 20 years later, they're doing something different. So that can give you a kind of a pathway to power of where the action can go. But let me give you an example real quick. I remember when my daughter Jolie, I have 5 kids now, 5 kids and 5 grandkids. It's pretty amazing. And Jolie today is 48. My youngest daughter now is 9 months. It's pretty wild. But the bottom line is, Jolie at the time was in college. I think she was just turning 21. 20 or 21. And so she was doing really great in college. And her dream was to be a dancer on Broadway. And so she was going to the school outside of LA. And so she came home. We lived in San Diego for the holidays, for Christmas holiday. And I sat down with her one day. And I said, honey, I just want to ask you a question. I said, how are you doing on your dream? And she looked at me and said, well, what do you mean, Dad? I said, you know what I mean? How are you doing on your dream to become a professional dancer on Broadway? And she goes, well, I've won this competition. I won 4 of these dance competitions in a row. And I said, honey, that's what I'm worried about. She goes, what's that? I said, you're dancing in competition against people you're so much better than. You're not being forced to grow. I said, plus, you're dancing here in LA. And I said, you want to be on Broadway, and it's a completely different culture, different people you got to know, and most importantly, different opportunities and a whole different level of skill for dancers in New York on Broadway than there is here in LA. She goes, well, what are you saying? I'm saying I think you should leave school, and I think you should move to New York, and I think you should work with the very best. I said, I'll help you out by helping you get a place for the first 6 months, but you're not going to be someone who sits on their butt. You're going to have to earn it, and then I'll pay for some of your coaching, but you're going to have to pay for yourself. But you need to get in the environment and compete because I think you're a great dancer, but I'm your dad, so I'm biased. But the reason I'm telling you that, honey, is there's a timeline on a dancer. I said, she goes, well, you said to go to college. I said, I was wrong. Not wrong about college, just maybe on the timing because there's a time limit. I said, honey, I said, look at me. I said, I know you think I'm a genius, and of course I am. I'm your father. Right? And I said, but I know, you've made comments like, Dad, you're so smart. You want to know what my greatest smarts are? What's made me smart? I made one commitment when I was 17 years old to myself. And that was, if there's an opportunity, I don't care if I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, I don't think I can do it, but the opportunity is in my face, there's a reason it's there, and I will not let it pass. I will grab that opportunity by the hair and act on it, even if I'm afraid, even if I don't know how. And because I've done that for decades, not all those opportunities were perfect, but because I went after every one, I found the right ones, and that's why I'm here. Because I take massive action, because I don't leave the sight of seeing an opportunity. I don't let it go by and let some excuse if I don't have time, I don't have the money, I don't know the right people, I don't know how to about it. I don't. I can't do it, therefore I must. And I do it. I said, I know you've seen me do that. She goes, wow, like, when are you suggesting I do this? I said, when would now be a good time? And she said, now? You mean like right now, like in the middle of the semester? I said, yes. She goes, wow. I said, how are you going to be any closer to your dream of being a Broadway dancer 6 months from now if you stay in school?
How am I going to be closer to my dream to be in New York?
That's a lot to think
and
about. I said, no, it's not a lot to think
Paris.
about. It's something to grab a hold of and do. She goes, well, do you mind if I talk to someone else about this, like a professional? I said, sure, people pay me $1 million a year for me to coach them, but you should ask somebody else. She goes, no, Dad, I don't mean that. You always say, go to someone who's the best in the field. I said, who are you thinking of? And she said, well, what about Jay Maloney? It's a friend of ours who was an agent at CAA, one of the biggest agencies in LA. I said, that's brilliant. I said, you should call Jay and see what he says. She goes, okay. I said, when would now be a good time to call him? She goes, right now? I said, why not? You're in state right now. This is what I got to get you to do. She goes, okay. So she leaves the call. I quickly call Jay as soon as she leaves the room. He's a good friend. And thank God he answered the phone. And I said, Jay, it's Tone. Listen, I'm going to talk really fast. I said, I just met with my daughter, Jolie. You know Jolie, right? He said, yeah. I said, she wants to be a dancer on Broadway. She's been going to school. She's doing good. She's competing against people she's best as, better than. I think she should go to New York, learn from the best, compete with the best, and see if she can do it. Am I wrong? Am I right? If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. He goes, no, Tony. Dancing in LA is a very different thing. If she's talking about Broadway, that's a different universe. She's got to get in the environment. And proximity. She needs proximity, the very thing you teach. I said, well, then tell her that. It's a true story. She comes back and says, his line's busy. It's a true story. I'm not making this up, right? I said, well, you're going to give up that easy? Call him again. So she calls him in. She's gone for about an hour and 15 minutes. She comes back. She goes, I just talked to him for like 45 minutes or an hour, and he was so helpful. And I said, well, what did he say? He said, well, you're right. That LA is not the place. If I want to be there, I got to be in the environment. I got to compete. I said, well, Father knows best, huh? Right? And so that day, she committed. And I took my little daughter. I grew up in the streets in a really tough environment, no food. My daughter grew up in the Del Mar Castle in Del Mar, California, overlooking the Pacific Ocean, like beach girl. And I fly her to New York and get her a crappy apartment deliberately. Safe environment as it could be, but still a crappy apartment. And said, look, you're going to have to earn your way. I'm going to pay for your lessons. You got to go for it. And let's see what you can do. I said, I think you can make it. I think you got the talent, but I can't judge. I'm your dad. I don't want to lie to you. You're going to know by competing. And it was one of the coldest winters that New York had in 15 years. And my little beach girl had to really get tough. And she went for it. And then, I don't know, I think it was about 5 months later. I'm coming to New York. So I called Julie and said, I'm coming to New York. Love to see you. And she goes, oh, Dad, I can't wait to see you. And she goes, yeah, a lot of good things are happening. I'll catch you up. And I get to the airport and there's a car for me. And I thought I'd arranged it, but it was for my daughter. It was like, wow, I wonder how she afforded this, right? I get in the car and the man said, yes, I'm taking you to see your daughter. And then he took us the route that's towards her apartment, and then he passed the area where you normally should turn right. And I was like, I think we're supposed to turn right there. He goes, no, she's meeting you somewhere else. True story. He drives me down to Broadway. We get outside this big theater where one of the top plays at that time was called Tommy. It was the one by Elton John. And there's my daughter's name on the top 5 months from the day that she went to New York City. Give it up for Jolie, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Now, I would like to take full credit for my daughter's success, but she did it all. But what I did do is get her to take action when she was scared. Because if she'd not got herself in the environment, if she'd not acted, then she'd go right back to school and she'd be caught up in the same thing. Most of us get caught up in our old pattern. You need something that's going to rocket you out of that, transform it, move it. That's the changing, that's the conditioning, and that's the moving forward with massive action. Last step, number 5, and then I got a really fun gift for you. Number 5 is, if you really want to have an extraordinary life, if you want life on your terms, you want the greatest quality of life at all, let's review. You got to know what you really want. You got to know where you really are. You got to come up with what you think can make that happen. But then you got to annihilate and destroy the limiting beliefs and emotions. Then you got to be able to get rid of the language that doesn't support. Make sure the language moves forward. Then you got to take massive action and keep learning by it. Hopefully model some others. Finally, step 5, give much more than you ever dream of receiving. I know that sounds crazy to some people, but if you constantly give, especially when it's hard, you will build a different set of muscles in your heart and your spirit, your soul, and you will feel different about every aspect of your life. When things are going really rough, the most powerful thing you can do is go help somebody who's worse off than yourself, because there's always somebody like that. That's why I started feeding families, because I had no money for food when I was 11, and somebody fed our family. So now I get to feed 100 million meals a year, 1 billion meals over these periods, this 8-year, 9-year period of time. That's pretty amazing. But it started, somebody fed my family, and I knew what it meant. It didn't just mean food, it meant strangers care.
Yep.
And so giving when it's
strangers
hard,
care
giving when
too.
it's uncomfortable, that's what changes us. That's what gets
That
us out of
happened to me
scarcity.
too.
And I'll tell you the 2 ways this happened for me. I went to work for this man, Jim Rohn, the person I told you about, the person without the speaker. I was 17 years old. I went and got a loan for a 1968 Volkswagen Baja Bug, this little tiny Volkswagen. I got, a suit at the thrift store. It cost me $50. In those days, it's like, that's what people wore. It was like a leisure suit, right? And a fake gold chain. Because I had no money. I slept in my car because I had no place to live initially. In this old trench coat I got from the thrift store also. And then I started to figure out, I gotta change my life. And so I finally went to work for Jim Rohn. And in the very beginning, it really took off. Like a lot of things that I knew, it took off because I believed so much. I was so passionate. And I remember I would go out and talk to people, and I convinced everybody literally to go do this because I did it. I went to the banks. I didn't have $1,200. Think 10,000. That's what the equivalent would be today from 1977. So imagine I get $10,000, you're 17. It's like, it's not working. And I remember I went and knocked on all these banks and nobody responded, and I got really good at knowing they're going to say no, like when they saw me, right? And I remember I walked in this one bank. First time I changed my physiology. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just like, I'm not leaving without this, because the deadline was coming to go to Jim Rohn's weekend seminar. That's what I needed the money for. I needed to go to this 2.5-day seminar that was everything you knew about time management, finance, your body, your emotions. And I was like, I gotta be there. I gotta learn this thing. And I'd scraped together his 3-hour seminar, his initial seminar. There was $35, and I was making $40 a week as a janitor. And I spent that, went there, and I got on fire. And I realized I'll never have the money. I'll never have the freedom if I don't change me, if I don't develop the skills, if I don't make the shift. So I'm going to come up with 10 grand, $1,200, same thing. It's like, I'm going to go to banks. No. So finally, I get outside the Bank of America in a place called West Covina, California. And I'm getting myself in state. I don't know what state was, but state. I'm going to go in there, and I look for somebody who looked nice and persuadable. And there's this beautiful woman that had really, smiley eyes. And so I walked right up to her table, and in those days, I had one gear, right? Total intensity. And I walked up and I said, shook her hand real vigorously. And I said, my name is Tony Robbins. I said, I'm here today to share with you that I'm here to borrow $1,200, not to fix a car, not to go on a vacation. I want this so I can attend a seminar. And she looked at me and said, a seminar? Like, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm going to this man. He's got, 25 years of business experience. And he's going to share with me what he learned. I'm going to save 25 years. And I'm going to learn it not just for me. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to help. In those days, I didn't think millions. I thought I'm going to help hundreds of thousands of people in my lifetime. And she looked at me. She goes, well, you have a lot of enthusiasm. Sit down. And she starts reading my form here, right? And sure enough, she looks down and she says, oh, wait a second. My address. Remember, I'm sleeping in my car. I used to park at Denny's or behind the 24-hour 7-Eleven. And I made a deal with a mailman that at noon when he delivered, I'd be there. I explained my situation. The man was super nice, and I'd get my mail there. I have a permanent address yet. So I put down, and Citrus Avenue is a giant street that goes through like 5 cities in the San Gabriel Valley where I live, but it's a commercial street. She looked at the address and she goes, I didn't know there were apartments on Citrus Avenue. I said, well, I kind of have a mobile home. And then she looked at my age, and it was 17. She goes, well, you're not even legal to sign a contract. I said, well, how old do you have to be? She said, 18. Oh, I said, I have a birthday coming. She said, when? I said, real soon. I said, how soon do I have to be 18? And it was just 2 weeks away. She goes, I think we can probably work that out. But she goes, if I can be nice, Mr. Robbins, you don't have the credit. I just don't see how you can do this. And I said, and she goes, and tell me again where you live. So I told her the whole truth. I told her the whole story. I told her to sleep in my car. I told her what had happened. Dad getting kicked out. I'm kicked out, but I'm going to do this thing, go to the seminar. And her eyes got bigger and bigger. And so she says, okay, so you're saying to me you want the bank to loan you $1,200 and then we can send your bills to the 7-Eleven and you'll pick them up at noon? Anyway, long story short, she said, I just don't think the bank's going to do this. And I said, no, you don't understand. And I just got so passionate, tense. I'm going to do this. She goes, listen, with all this intensity, I see in your eyes sincerity. I believe you're going to do something. I don't know if the bank will do this. But she said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go pitch it for you. And if you look me in the eyes and you swear to me I'm never going to have to go looking for you, she goes, I'll loan you the money or I'll find a way to co-sign if you swear I'm not going to look for you. And I started to cry and I reached over. This poor woman, I've never been hugged by a monster like me before, right? It's like, Mrs. Williams is her name. And I told people, I said, I'm always going to tell this story of how you gave me my start, which I have. She died many years ago. She got the bank to loan me the money. She co-signed. I took $1,200, I think $10,000, and I went to this 2.5-day program with Jim Rohn, and I didn't have enough money to even stay in a hotel. I met this guy at that time named Mike Keys. He's still my friend today, 42 years later. Just talked to him the other day. He was in pretty rough shape too, but he had enough money for a hotel room, and so we hit it off, and he goes, why don't you stay in my room? So I didn't have to sleep in there, but he and I were, like a lot of people there, it was easy. They could write a check for 10 grand or $1,200 was nothing. But for us, it was everything. So I was like, I took notes like you can't imagine. Like, what do you say, the? I wrote down the. It's just like, at one point, I figured that every word was worth like 3 cents, right? I'm not missing a word, right? I didn't go to the bathroom. I was there. But, Jim Rohn passed away some time ago. I spoke at his funeral. He was a beautiful soul. And I worked for him for many years. But he would start his seminars for more than a decade the same way. Everything Jim Rohn was the same. He dropped the chalk at the same moment, turned to the same. It was all programmed. He was just a really elegant man. And he started seminars saying, I want to do a good job today because you never know who's in your audience. He goes, 20 years ago, sitting right here in this round table right in front of me was this young man named Tony Robbins. And he would tell the story about how now people tell him about me and what a beautiful thing it was that came from that, right? It's pretty beautiful. So I tell you the story, though, because it looked like it was straight up, but nothing's straight up, right? Like you get corrections and then you got to do it again. And so I did really well for a while. And then I got this, have you ever gotten in a rut where you're doing the right things, but it doesn't seem to be working? Who's been in that place where it feels so frustrating, like nothing's working, you're working your tail off? And I'll tell you the night that changed my life. Two nights. First one, I'm driving home on this freeway called the 57 freeway about midnight. And I am working for Jim Rohn, and I'm trying to paint a great state representing this positive man. And some of the people that bought from me, because I convinced the bank to loan me money, I said, bank will loan you money, do it. And they wrote checks and they bounced. So the company thought I was cheating or something. So they kept my commission. So I was eating spaghetti with ketchup I got at McDonald's as the sauce. Literally. I was dead broke. I'm driving this old Volkswagen. It's rattle trap in the middle of the night, midnight. I've worked my guts. And I was on the verge of tears. I'm like, why, God? Why? I'm working so hard. I'm trying to help everybody. Why isn't this working? And then, boom, like a lightning bolt. It hit me. And I literally pulled off on the freeway at midnight, off to the edge. And I used to keep these hardbound journals, like 8.5 by 11 hardbound journals. And I grabbed the journal. And I went one large phrase. I still have the journal. I still have the page today. I'm about to be 62. I wrote it at 17. And it said on it, "The secret to living is giving." It was 19 when I did it.
Wow.
And I just sat there and I just cried and cried and cried. You know why I was crying? Because I realized I forgot why I was doing this. I got so into working so hard. And I started focusing on why I getting, and I stopped focusing on how to give, and I was always a giver, and so it just felt like I wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that moment, and I really shifted. And over the next few months, I really started to do well again. But then, in business, there's always lessons, just like a relationship, just like losing weight, right? There's always lessons, right? You make progress, and you hit a little barrier, and you got to find your way through. And I hit another barrier, and I found myself... I moved out this place in Venice, California, a little 400 square foot bachelor apartment, and I was broke again. And I was sad and frustrated and depressed, and I didn't have the distinctions. I didn't know not to use depression. I didn't know the things I know today. And I felt sorry for myself, and so I started just watching TV to distract myself. And I started watching these old, they weren't old then, these soap operas. I used to make fun of people if they watch it. I watched General Hospital, right? Luke and Laura. Anybody from America old enough to remember that shit? Oh, if you remember that. Scorpio. I was there for the wedding. It's just, and I didn't use drugs because the people I grew up with used drugs and they were pretty physically abusive. So I used food like a drug. I just ate and ate and ate. I gained 38 pounds in about 7 or 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. I don't know what the exact time. It was less than 8 weeks. You gotta stuff a lot of food and not move very much to pull that off, which I did. And then I hit this just rock bottom place. And I had, I think it was like $26 or $27 literally to my name. I had not paid my electric bill. I wasn't able to pay my rent. And I was scared. But I was also so depressed. My energy was so low. I wasn't solution oriented. So finally I was like, I need to be really smart and creative here. So I got to take this money and I got to be so selective with it because I got to get food. And so I thought, I'm going to go to all you can eat salad bar. And I was like, no, I'm going to get the heck out of Venice, which at that time, Venice is a nicer place now, but sort of depends on where you go in Venice. But then it was a really rundown, horrific place. But the city next to it's called Marina del Rey. You may have heard of it, Del Rey. It's where all the yachts are. So it couldn't be more contrast. And they're like, 2.5, 3 miles from each other. And there was a place called El Chorrito, a restaurant there. They had an all-you-could-eat salad and taco bar. It was like, I don't know, it was like $5.95 or something, like $6. So I was like, okay, I got like 26. Okay, so I didn't drive my car there because parking was $3. So I was like, okay, I'll walk there. It wasn't that far, like 2.5 miles, maybe 3. I went there thinking I'm gonna load up for the winter. I'm gonna eat as much carbs as I can. I'm gonna load up so I can make it through the next few days. But I want to look out at the water and see how other people live. I want to see the yachts, and instead of like feeling sorry for myself, think these people found a way. I could find a way. So I remember I got to the place. And the guys, where's your car? I said, I was walking distance. You open the door, and I go in, and I loaded up. My food was this high, tacos, all this stuff, and I ate like a fiend, like a crazy person. And as I'm finishing up, my seat was sitting looking out to the window, all these beautiful boats and people in this great lifestyle. And then also on the left, I could see the front door. I wasn't looking for that, but the front door opened, and this magnificently beautiful woman walked in. I could not miss it. I was a single man. And I was waiting to see, is a man with her, as if I'm the kind of caliber guy that could get her, right? At that time, that was not going to happen. But I watched, and a man did walk in. He was a very short man, a very young man. He was about 3 feet tall. Was her son. And but what's so cool was he was wearing a 3-piece suit, like a little vest, and he held the door open for his mom. And then he came over, and I watched him pull out the chair for her and let her sit down and put it in. And then he sat down, and when he was talking to his mom, he was just so present with her. And I was moved by it. I don't know, maybe something about my own mom. I don't know what it was, but I was deeply moved. And so I finished my meal, and I got up and, got ready to pay the bill, and finally paid it. And whatever, it was $5.95. So I don't know what I had left, $19 and some change probably, a little less than $20 probably. And I had no plan. And I'm about to walk out the door, and I see this kid's face again sitting across, and I didn't even look at his mom. I just went up to him, and I said, I just want to introduce myself. I said, my name's Tony. He goes, I'm Charlie. I said, Charlie, I said, you are a class act. I just wanted to compliment you. I saw how you held that door open for your lady here. I saw how you held the chair out for it, how you're just right here with her, taking her to lunch. I said, that's magnificent. He goes, well, she's my mom. And I said, that's even more beautiful. I said, that's even more classy. He goes, well, I can't take her to lunch because I don't have a job yet. He was like, I think he was in the 3rd grade. He was like 7 or 8 years old, right? I think he was 8. And he said, I don't have a job yet. I can't take her to lunch. And then in that moment, I had no plan. I said, yes, you are taking her to lunch. And I reached in my pocket, and I took every penny I had, all the dollar bills, all the change, and boom, I dumped it right in front of him on the table there. And I didn't look at his mom. I wasn't doing it for that reason. And his eyes got bigger than garbage can covers. And he's like, I can't take that. I said, sure you can. He said, how come? I said, because I'm bigger than you are. And then he started laughing. And I said, you're a class act. Take good care. And I never looked back.
Class act.
I walked out that door. I didn't walk out that door. I felt like I was flying out the door. And then I realized there's no car. I'm like looking for the ticket, realized I have no car. So I looked like this crazy white guy skipping through down the street for 2.5, 3 hours. But I want you to get this. I was euphoric. I had no fear. I should have been, holy shit, Tony, what the hell you just did? You have no money for food. Well, you have no money coming in. What are you going to do? I had none of that. I felt this feeling of joy, this pure joy. There was no fear. And I got home, and there's no food, but I was pretty stuffed, so that wasn't a big deal. But I didn't think about, what am I going to do tomorrow? I woke up the next morning, and I started saying, well, I got to figure out what to do. But for some reason, there wasn't that fear, you know what I mean? That feeling like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. There was none of that. It was just like, I got to figure out what to do. And then at noon, in those days, there was no email. We had the snail mail. The mailman came by. And of course, I always wanted to avoid him because all I was getting were bills I couldn't pay. Like bill. I started to feel a little down. And then there was this personal letter. And I opened it up and read the letter. I just started crying my eyes out because the letter was from a young man that I had loaned about $1,100 to when he needed it desperately. It was not, I'd say a young man, he was my age. And I didn't have a lot of money, but but I just felt for him. He needed it, so I loaned it to him. It had been 2 years, and he was supposed to pay it back in, 3 or 4 months. And I had called him like day after day, week after week, because I needed the money so bad, and he didn't even return my calls. And then I'm reading this letter, and it says, "I'm so sorry, Tony. You helped me when I needed it most, and I have ignored you because I'm embarrassed." But he said, "I've put the money together, and here's a check with interest." He gave me a check for $1,200. And I'm looking at this check. In those days, $1,200, I could live a month on $1,200. And so this feeling of joy, and then these tears, this just uncontrollable tears pouring out of me, but they weren't tears of pain. They were tears of grace. This feeling like,
61,000.
why did this happen right now? When I needed it most. And I don't know the real reason why, but the good thing about human beings, we get to choose the meaning.
Yep.
And I just thought, this happened because I did what was right. I didn't do that thing for this little boy because I wanted the attention of his mom. I didn't do it for stars on my chart. I didn't do it for acknowledgement. I just did it because I knew it was right. And I hesitated, no hesitation. I didn't think about my needs. When I had nothing left, I gave it all. And the next day, it comes back again right now like I was there. It's that seared into my memory. I can tell you, there's never been a day I faced unbelievably difficult times, and I had companies in the early days where it looked like go bankrupt, and they didn't. I found a way, but it was so scary, but I never went back to that place. I've never gone back to that place where most people live, scarcity. So I tell you this because most people want to give when it's easy. That won't make you grow. I hear people tell me, "Oh, it's wonderful, you're providing 100 million meals a year, but you're rich. I'll do that when I'm rich." Bullshit. I fed 2 families when I had no money. I did 4 and then 8. I've been doing this since I was 17.
Yep.
If you won't give a dime out of a dollar, you're not going to give a million out of 10 or 100 million out of a billion. There's no time to wait. If you really want your life to change, if you really want the breakthrough, find someone who needs it more and give. And I can promise you, you will receive at levels beyond anything you could ever imagine. Whatever you think your greatest dream is, the life you'll create if you'll be a giver it'll make your greatest dream look like a cartoon. And this week has been thinking about all of you out here and imagining you, and now getting to meet so many of you on Zoom and watch your forums, and it's been about giving to you. I hope you've received.
Yes.
But I also hope with that receiving that you'll decide to give and to spread the word.
Yep.
I love you all.
Thank you so much, Tony. And the team. And to Sage. God bless you all. The future is now. Oh my gosh, the future is now. The future is now. Ay, grabe. Thank you, Tony. The future is now. Oh my gosh, the future is now. Should I read? The future is now? Okay. 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 The future is now. Yes, it means something else. Yep. Giving is the best way to be fulfilled as well in life. Strangely. Ahoo! Ahoo! Whoop! 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 That's the sound. Whoop! 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 Fist bump. Next year, Lord, I pray VIP na tayo so that I can talk to Tony and to Sage and to my future. Sasama ko yung future ko o isasama niya ako. Future is na. Walang dream. Akala niya hindi ako kasali, no? Kasali ako kahit ano lang, nasa StreamYard ako. Kahit nasa YouTube ako. Even if it's free, it's very valuable. It doesn't mean pag free, unvaluable yun. It's actually the universe giving you what you need. I really needed
And
this.
then after this gift, I want to come back and give you one last thing that you don't want to miss, so please stick with me. The last day, I don't want you to miss out. By the way, I hope you'll come join me at the UBW. I think by now you understand it's a mission for me. It isn't about getting you to do something business-wise. Overcome your fear. Come spend the 4 days with us if you can. We'd love to have you. But let me just give you one more gift here. Remember I said the difference in life is there's a gap usually between where we want to be and where we are. Who's got some of those right now in your body or your relationship or your business? So years ago, I started developing this close the gap process. And I want to introduce you to a dear friend. He's not even a friend. He's chosen family at this point. But I'm a little embarrassed. I know, have you ever done this? Have you ever prejudged somebody in your mind for whatever reason based on your past experiences and then felt embarrassed about after? Who's had this happen? Maybe somebody became your dear friend, right?
Yeah, I've been like judged because
I
I look like so
a friend of mine called me up and said, "You got to meet this guy.
maarte
He
or
really wants to meet you."
whatever, but I
And it's like,
don't
you know, I have
care.
no
They
time.
can
I'm
think
like,
of
everything I'm
anything
doing,
about
go,
me.
go,
I'm
go,
sure
these
of
companies are my
who
family.
I am.
I was like, well, you know, have him come to the seminar as my guest. And then I'll, you know, since he's a friend of yours, I'll meet him and we'll have a brief little lunch for like 20 minutes is what I said, right? And so I was willing to do it more for the other person because I didn't really want to meet this guy because, you know, I grew up and one of the ways I initially reached people was I had these infomercials. Did anybody ever see these old infomercials that used to be out there, you know, that I had, right? And I didn't want to be in infomercials, but like I didn't have another vehicle to reach a large number of people. And so I did something that was real and it really caught on. It did super well and it helped me reach the President of the United States and, you know, amazing Olympic athletes. And it opened the world for me to a great extent. But I hated being in infomercials because you were on, you know, you were followed by spray-on hair and fake diamonds and all that stuff. Right, and so you kind of get thrown in that category of being a salesman, and I was never a salesman. I'm somebody here that's like give my soul to try to serve people.
Yep.
I just had a vehicle like Oprah's selling, but she doesn't see it. She's selling you drugs or deodorant or whatever, and she makes money off of that. She gets it from the advertising, or she wouldn't have a business. But in the infomercial business, it was direct. And so this guy was in the infomercial business. I used to hate when people would say, "Oh, Tony Robbins, that infomercial." I hated that, but it was a way to reach people, so I did. So this guy, I was no longer in the infomercial business. And this guy, you know, he said, "Oh, he's practiced all your stuff. He's learned it." And he's in the infomercial business. So it's like I had this negative connotation towards him before I met him. It's so stupid. The very thing I hated, I did in my head with him. But then I met Dean Graziosi. And we had this lunch. It was supposed to be 20 minutes. Yeah, some of you know him. Give up for Dean.
Si Dean, master.
We ended up having an hour and a half. I even made the seminar go late because I could pitch and catch
mastermind.
It's like I was so wrong about him. Like he knows how to, you know, move people to action. I do too. And you know, we have such a weird thing in our culture. If you own your own business, one of the reasons a lot of people don't succeed is they're afraid to sell.
I say yes to success.
Selling is like a person
I
with
got a
integrity, somebody who's really looking out for your
millionaire.
interests. No.
I say yes.
Right? It's a white shoot
I
salesman,
say
it's a
yes to
scumbag who's just trying to
success.
get me to do something, right? And so we all have those anchors, you know, used card salesmen. And yet everything in the world only moves because it's sold. The carpet you're standing on was sold. The building was sold. The materials of the building were sold. I mean, the economy stops if you don't become a persuader. So I hope if you own your own business, you become the best persuader on your team because if you believe in what you're doing, you have an obligation to deliver it for people. But
True.
This guy, Dean, after an hour and a half, I was like, this guy cares as much as I do. I mean, this guy, his level of follow-up, you know, he taught people how to buy real estate as investment in leverage ways. And I was completely impressed. So we became good friends. And for, I gosh, about a decade. We just were great buddies. And now a big part of this challenge came because Dean, he helped me create this challenge, not the content of what we're delivering, but how to reach you guys, how to bring us all together, how to get 800,000 people. Do you realize we got almost 1 million people together from 195 countries? And this is the guy who did it. So he's going to show you how to close the gap. He's going to take you through this little process of closing the gap real quick. And then I'm going to come back. So don't leave, because it's not done yet. I want to give you one final thing at the end here that you're going to be very glad you stuck around for. And we'll finish up together this beautiful, beautiful 5 days. So will you do me the favor and yourself the favor of taking in the gift? Let's welcome Dean Graziosi, ladies and gentlemen. There he is.
Millionaire mind.
All right. Hey, everybody. Good to see you, Karen and Candace. I get to see a whole bunch of you. Hey, listen, I know that you've given so much love in the chat. I've just been sitting here for the last 2 hours, but can we give some more love for Tone? I know he's watching the chat. 5 days of his life for you.
True. Giving back to the people.
Over-deliver in a huge way. His vulnerability and his love is unbelievable. So let's give it up for Tone in the chat. All right.
Thank you so much, Tatay ng Bayan.
First off, congratulations for playing full out. There are so many people who talk about wanting more, think about wanting more, complain they don't have more, but not. You're here on a Saturday, tens of thousands of you playing full out. And if you think this is full out, those of you who already are going to UPW, that's a whole nother level. Can't wait. And one more thing I got to say. Picture this. 25 years ago, I got to tell the story. I wanted more, just like so many of you. You know what? You know why I love this and I love this energy? I've just sat here and watched this whole thing like I've never seen it before. Because 25 years ago, I was like some of you here. I just got introduced to Tony Robbins. In the back of my head, I'm like, God, can this really shift my life? And my life got completely transformed because of Tony. And I remember writing in my journal, someday I want to meet him and say thank you. And I feel blessed he told you the story of us meeting. And one thing I want to say about Tone, I saw your beautiful comments about vulnerable, speaking God's words, all these incredible things. But I want to tell you, there's an old saying, sometimes you got to watch when you meet your heroes because you envision them one way. And then you meet him, it's like, wah, wah, wah. And I want to tell you, behind the scenes, Tony's more of the man than you think he is. He donates more, does more, cares more, serves more than you could ever imagine. So I love you, brother. I know you're watching. Thank you for all you do. I also want to tell you this. I've also been the guy that was the first time when my family told me I was nuts for buying a course and spending money. And those shifts transformed my life. I left Tony a message this morning. We speak every day that I said, thank you for inviting me today, but truly 25 years ago, if I didn't meet you, I wouldn't be the man I am, the husband I am, the father I am, the leader I am. So I'm beyond grateful. But I got to tell you one quick story. And then what I want to do today is I want to share an exercise that I probably learned through all the training from Tony, his gap training, and I kind of made a simple process that I love to go through. I do it at least 4 times a year, and I want you to hear this. This isn't hyperbole. It is truly the number one process I do that has probably created more success in my life than any other one thing I do. So I can't wait to share that with you. But before I wanted to say this about the first time I went to UPW. Here's what I want you to understand. Most of the time you go to an event like that thinking you know what you want. So Tony told you the story. I get to meet Tony. He said, come to the event. I had a million things going on. I'm like, screw it. I canceled my plans. I'm going to my first UPW. Prior to that, it was just every course Tony had done. So I show up at UPW and I'm like, I'll get a competitive edge. Business was everything in my mind at the time. I wanted to go faster, quicker, stronger. And I went there to get a competitive edge for business. And you do. Unlike anything you could ever imagine. But imagine me, I'm in this space, I get to meet Tony, who was my hero at this time. I go to the event, and this is the part I want you to understand. Those of you who already got a ticket, congratulations. Those of you who get a ticket, congratulations. You go thinking you know what you want, and in my experience, you leave with exactly what you need. I have to tell you my story. I go there looking to, bond with Tony that I've idolized, that now he's going to be a dear friend, and I'm at his event, and I want business strategy, which you get. maybe relationship. And Tony goes through a process. Now you've heard Tony say, life happens for you, not to you. Today it's a word. When you're immersed in an event where you're 10, 12 hours of transformation, not inspiration, transformation, it's way deeper. It goes from your head to your soul. And Tony goes through a process and he did an intervention. And in a moment, he shifted me with something that it's even hard to talk about that I didn't know was coming. We all have our story, not poor me, but my dad was the youngest of 12, physically abused, sexually abused, went through a lot as a child. And as a parent, he was a good dad. Never hit us, but he had a lot of torture in his life. He had a lot of anger in his life. By the time I was 11 years old, I had a bleeding ulcer because my dad was so violent and would fight with everybody and get arrested for crazy stuff. And lots of stuff went on. And I forgave him most of the way. But I didn't realize until that very moment that Tony was going through a process that I was still holding on to a lot. Anybody here think they forgave, you're close, but you know you're holding on to something in your life? And there was a moment when Tony goes through this process and he said, if you're going to blame your father, whoever it is, you're going to blame your dad for all the things they did wrong, you better sure blame them for all that went right. I have goosebumps sharing that because in the moment I realized I'm an amazing dad because my dad was a little off. I'm in love with the woman of my dreams. My wife is my everything. I have true love. I don't have an Instagram love. She's my everything. I love being a father. I love being a leader. I love being a dear friend. My dad struggled financially. I'm blessed to own 15 companies, have more success than I ever imagined possible. I realized in that very moment that God gave me this path. I went through those tough times. I struggled. I moved in with my dad when everybody wanted to leave him. And I became a different man because of my father. And in that moment, I forgave my dad completely. And I went there for business. I got way more than business. I realized that I was carrying around a 1,000-pound weight for 35, 40 years of my life, and it was gone. And everything exponentially grew. I'm a better father, husband, friend, leader, all of it. And that's what, it's so hard to express. You can't explain what Unleash the Power Within is. If you haven't been there, there's no way we could explain. What you saw the last 5 days is a glimpse. If you've been, you probably know you need to go back. I've been 12 times. I'll be there in March. It's number 13 for me. So I wanted to share that with you. Sometimes you think you know what you want, and that man knows how to deliver you what you need. All right. So you guys, who's all in on learning what I'm sharing right now and making sure this is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning. Give me an I'm all in if you're ready for this to be the beginning of your journey.
Yep.
The best way you could thank Tony is truly transform, to re-engineer, to live into your full potential. That's what that man is obsessed on. So I'm going to go through this exercise. Mike, follow me to the board. Again, Tony goes through this in his own way, and at UPW goes deeper, stronger, but I built this hack, this training that I go through 4 times a year, and I'm not kidding you, nothing has transformed me more than this, so let's go. All right, so if we're going to talk about a gap, I'd love for you to watch this, take notes like crazy, and then do it on your own. But we start off with where we are, right? So I don't have fancy slides, but where are you? Where are you? Okay? That's pretty obvious. But here's something I love to talk about is, where are you? To me means all change starts with being honest.
Yep.
If everything was absolutely perfect in your life, if you had the intimacy you wanted, the connection you wanted, the love you wanted, the friendship, the income, the career you wanted, you'd be doing something else today. It's a Saturday. Some of you are up in the middle of the night. You wouldn't be here. You're here because something isn't exactly where it needs to be. I don't know if you feel like an imposter. You've been wanting to do this thing, step out on your own, do your own business, do your own thing, get the career raise. But you
No, I'm
feel
not, because I know who I am. It's just that I am limited with money, limited with what I have. Not because I am not,
I don't know if you're
because
a mom of 3.
it's just a lot of things going on in our life right now. Things that you don't know, things that I'm not sure if you even care.
A friend, a coworker, and you forgot who you were. I don't know if it's time to get your health back, start the business, scale the business. I don't know where you are, but I do know this. All change
starts from being honest.
Starts with being honest with yourself. You see, I meet so many people that say, I should be I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Of course you're blessed. Of course we should be grateful. 150,000 people die every day.
I am leaving the house because I am behind with the payment for the house. But that doesn't make me feel bad. No, because I know I lend the money to help so that there's a food in their table. Do you know that?
The biggest plight of the human race is knowing you have more potential, but you're not utilizing it. Who in here knows you have more to give the world, more to serve, more to impact, more to make, more revenue to create, so you can give it all away if you want? Who loves when Tony talks about a story of feeding hundreds of millions of people or helping people from slavery or building schools? I've been blessed to model that, man, and I get to do those things. People say, making money doesn't make you happy. I say, you haven't given enough away yet.
Yeah.
So my whole point
People
is
are just telling me,
for a
judging me and all
reason.
that, but
And
they don't
here's a
even
word I
know
love,
who
and
I
you should put
really
this in
am.
the chat. I love the thought of
You just
being
tell me these things and
disturbed
that thing
by my
that,
own inaction. When you
Lord,
write
if
down
you
here what
really
you should,
know,
where are you? I
if
feel
you
like
really,
an imposter. I
really
want to be my
know
own
what I've
man.
been
I want my
through,
own business. I want to feel like the
you
woman I
will,
used to be.
it's like a
Empowered,
disrespect of what
lose the
you're
weight,
doing if
find
you're gonna judge
intimacy, get my
someone just
connection
because
back.
they look
If you're
like
really honest with
they're
yourself, then we must
happy
be
on the outside
disturbed
or
with
they're
just sitting and
calm
knowing it.
and all that.
So if we know who we
It's a
are,
choice that I
complete
make.
honesty,
I have
it's
to
like
be calm
GPS.
even if
To
the
get to a
world is
destination,
like,
you need a
my world
starting
is
point, right?
crumbling down, or if the
So
world
if you know
is
who you are,
in
because
chaos,
we want our life to
because
grow,
I know that
where
the verse that
do
I am holding on is
you want
it's
to
in
go? Tony talks about
Philippians
this as
to
well. This is my
think
version,
of
right?
what is good,
Where is
what
it
is
that you
pure,
want to
what is
go?
lovely.
You know,
That's what you're
here's
gonna
what I know.
think of.
Most people go through life
But I go,
avoiding what they don't want. Can we all agree? I've watched
where
Tony
do you
do this
want to
exercise
go?
on stage. Ask somebody on stage, what don't you want out of life?
I'm not
And
sure
they'll
if I
ramble
wanted
it
to
all
go to
faster,
Paris
like they've
knowing
wrote it
that
400
there's a lot
times.
of things
And then you
going
can
on,
stop,
like
change your state, and say, what
COVID
do you
and all
want out of life?
that.
What's your compelling future?
Still, it's
And
my
people will
dream.
go, oh,
But I
that's a
wanted
good
to be
question.
there kasi with the
Right? How do we
man
get? We
in
can't
my
just drive
life.
down
I
the back
wrote
roads
that
avoiding
before
potholes
since
and expect to
it's
get
like
to our
2011, I
destination.
think.
Now I know if you're watching
was
Tony
like,
Robbins and you've been with Tony for 5 days, you're
yeah.
probably already dialing this in. But I got to tell you a quick story. A dear friend
I
of mine,
wanted
his
to
name is
be
Ethan
there,
Willis. He's an
like
incredible man, father
have
of 8.
a
My
date
wife and I
with a
can't handle
man
3.
that I
He's got
wanted to
8
be
and he
with.
manages it so well. I get so much great
And
parenting advice from this guy. He's a church leader, a business owner, great dude.
go on a
So
yacht,
he tells me a story about taking the 17
a
to 20-year-old
cruise
boys
ship
from
or
his
a
school, a
yacht,
bunch of
and
dads
then
away
wake up
whitewater rafting.
wearing the
And he said they get there. Now, I don't know rafting.
the
I've
white
never done it.
something
But I guess
white
rapids go, you guys would know better than
long
me. They go
sleeve
from
that
1
the
to
man
5.
is wearing in
And
the
it
morning,
rained and it stormed and they were a
and
5.
then
And he
eat
said, no way, we're not taking the
seafood
kids. We're
or
responsible for all them. And he said the guy came out, little salt and pepper
That's
had
it.
hair, and he said, dads, chill. Boys, get in the raft. We're going to be fine. And he said, I was concerned. I said, what do you mean we're going to be fine? Can you tell me? He goes, hold on, Dad. Hey, kids, you see this finger? He said, this is the positive point. He said, when I first started, he goes, we get people in the raft, and I go, hey, everybody, don't hit that down tree. that fell."
5:47
And he said,
a.m.
everybody would look towards
I
the down
will
tree, and
send
we'd
it
run right in it and flip over. Or I'd say, there's a rock, or there's some bad
later,
rapids.
bago mag
Wherever
6
I
p.m.
pointed, everyone would go. And he said, it took me a little longer than it should, but finally I realized that we can't focus on the rocks or the rapids or the down tree. He said, the positive point, boys, is wherever I point, you just paddle your guts out to get there. I promise you'll be fine. And isn't that a reminder we need in life? We need to positively point to where it is we want to go. I know you've heard this
Positively point to
before.
where you
I'm
wanna
not
go.
creating anything new. I'm a reminder service today. Where are you pointing? Are you pointing at your husband who doesn't believe in you or thinks you're crazy, or the friends that you're afraid to post something on Instagram, or the imposter syndrome or the self-doubt? What are you focusing on because you're just getting more
Everything in
So
my
here's a little
social
hack.
media is part of
Let's
me,
pretend
are part of
it's a
me.
year from now.
So
And we're all
it's up
back
to
here with
you
Tony.
if your
We're
social media
celebrating,
is something
and you're
that
celebrating
doesn't
the
reflect
best
who you
year
are. But
of your
me,
entire life.
I always wanted to make it the point
best
that
year of your
whatever
life.
I am posting,
What would
I
have
am
had to
part of
happen
the
for
post.
you to have
That's
the
who
best
I
year?
am.
I'm not talking about setting goals. and
Facebook
looking
is
through
my
them. Sometimes
diary.
things are so
Facebook
crazy
is
in our
like
life, we're just happy to
a
get through
book
it.
to me. Facebook
Who's
is
ever
like
hit
a
their
book,
pillow
like
and
a
go,
book,
"Oh,
the book of
right,
my
it's
life.
crazy sometimes."
Whatever my
But
thoughts
let's
are
pretend
and
it's
all
a
that,
year
whatever
from
is
now. You're
happening
looking
to my
back.
life, that's
What had
my
to happen
Facebook.
for you to
So
feel
whatever
that
is
when you walk
happening
in a room, people
in
look
the
and go,
outside,
"Damn, what's up with Courtney?
whatever
What's
I'm
up with
posting,
Debbie?
that's who I
She's
am.
looking amazing.
Or
She's
whatever
glowing.
is like
What did she do?
happening,
Your
like
boyfriend?
and
What is
whatever
it?
I am
You know
saying,
that feeling.
I don't even care if
What had
you'll
to
hear
happen?
me saying
What happened
jologs and
in
all that.
your income? How much
Who
money are you
cares?
making?
What
Put
the
it in the
fuck?
chat. What are you making on a
Bala kayo
monthly
sa buhay
basis?
nyo.
Or
This
how
is
many
my
lives are
life.
you impacting?
I don't
Or
like,
how's the
I
connection
don't
back in
live
your
for you. I
relationship? Or
don't
the intimacy you
live
crave?
just to be
Or did
liked.
you find the right person?
Even
Are
in
your
my
friends
YouTube
more
channel, this
connected?
is like, I
Do you
wanted to
feel
post
more whole?
it
Do you have less
raw.
anxiety? Do you have certainty, even though the outside world is uncertain? Do you feel certain because you know that you're mastering the inner game?
Yeah?
I don't know
Yeah.
what the best year of
Yeah.
your life looks like, but we must have a true north. We must have, why do they build light towers for boats? They need something to
The
look at.
lighthouse.
You need to craft where it is you want to go. You need your compelling future because days get hard and we need something to look at. So if you start thinking, you did a little bit of this with Tony earlier, what is it that you want? Not what you want to avoid. We know that. We need the positive point. And if you write down the best year of your life and you start circling the best things, in your
Unlock
heart, your soul, your
2022.
passion, your intimacy, your income,
'Cause
your
I
career,
feel
your
like,
love, your
for
connection,
the
your intimacy,
last-
all of a sudden we have something to sell
Yes, I've been
ourselves on
like
every day. Because the biggest sales
withholding.
job you have to do is on you. Because you have media, you have friends, you have naysayers, you have internal self-doubt, you have imposter syndrome, all telling you that you should be happy with where you are. BS.
There's a
You
place I
weren't
want to
made to
go.
stand still. You
Oh,
were
shit.
designed. Don't you want to be the man or the woman that God designed you to be? The universe designed you to be. You
Christian
know you
din
have
pala
more.
to si Din.
So, if you
Good,
know where
good.
you are with complete honesty, and you know where you want to go, that's your compelling future, as Tony calls it. What's in between here? It's a gap. There's a gap from here to here. Now, before we talk about filling the gap, this is the part that changes everything. And Tony talks about it deeply. It's without an emotion attached to it, nothing happens. You could forget someone's name. You could forget what they do for a living. But you'll never forget the way they make you feel. So in between where it is you want to go, where you are and where you want to go, there's why. Why do you want it? Why do you want it? I got to tell you this story really quick. I hired a consultant named Joe Stump to help me impact more of my students well over a decade ago. Paid him $10,000 for half a day. A lot of money for a consultant, but he was really good at what he does. I said, I want my students to be more engaged. How do I get more results for them? And he said to me, did you ever do the 7 levels deep? Like, I don't know, but if it'll help them, give it to me. He said, I can't really give it to you. I got to take you through it. I said, okay. And I'm sitting around with my team members. Now, picture this. We're sitting outside my old house, conference table, outside, all together. And Joe says to me, so why would you give me 10 grand for half a day? And I remember I had an answer just like that out of my head. I said, because I want more of my students to be impacted and change their lives. He said, oh, that's great, Dean. So why do you want to impact more students and change their lives? And I remember saying something like, I want to step up the standards of this industry. Oh, that's great. Why do you want to step up the standards? And I said, I want to leave a legacy, all this stuff coming out of my head. Now, I don't know what else I said, but I remember when I got to the 5th time he asked me that question, my physiology changed. It went from my head into my heart. It was almost like a kaplunk. And I said something I had never said before. And the 5th time I said, I never want to go backwards. I never said that out loud, but I started feeling emotional. And I remember thinking I didn't have anything. I had hand-me-downs going to school. I lived in a trailer park. I didn't like getting made fun of. I didn't like watching my mom work 2 jobs to make nothing and come home late. And me and my sister used to make dinner when I was 5 and 7. We made dinner, did the laundry. Not poor me. But I don't want to go back there. So all of a sudden I'm feeling more empowered. I'm feeling more emotional. I'm like, okay, wow, that's my why. And he's like, no, that's only 5. Why don't you want to go backwards? And I said something else I had never said. I said, I want my children to have choices. Now, I don't want to raise more entitled people on this planet. We don't need any more of that. But I didn't feel like I had many choices as a kid.
Same.
So I wanted my children to have these
The only
choices.
choice we have is to survive.
Your heart. Now I got
That's the
waterworks.
only
I'm crying,
thing. That's why right
hysterical.
now
I'm
we
like, that's
wanted to
it's for my
thrive. We
kids.
wanted to
And I'm like,
keep them
thank you for this. This
thriving.
was so amazing. And he said, yeah, I know, but that's only number 16. I got to ask you one more time. Why do you want your children to have choices? And I said something I'd never said out loud, something I still stick with this day. I remember it like it was yesterday. It's my true why. I said, I want to be in control of my life. Not a control freak. We all have our stories. I think I have a little more than Tony, but my mom was married 5 times. My dad 4. I moved 20 times by the time I was 19. I had a step-grandpa, Leo Rizzo. He was the greatest guy in the world, took me fishing and hunting. Come home from school, that relationship's over, it's over. You can never talk to him again. I had a stepbrother that became my friend. Went back to school a month later, and my dad's like, you can never talk to him again. I had to walk through school and not talk to my stepbrother, who was a friend. And his ex worked in the high school that I went to, and I couldn't talk to her either. There was so much moving and out of control in Graham's house and Dad's house and evicted and all these pieces that my childhood, again, we all have our journey. But I realized I was out of control, and what I fight for is to be in control of my time, my decisions. Listen, we all have our goals. We all have our dreams. You should find your why. Mine, my older children are with me half the time. Every single day. No exaggeration, when they're with me, I personally make them breakfast. I personally take them to school, and I personally pick them up from school. My daughter and my son both pitch, playing baseball. My daughter's been pitching since she was 7. She has practiced twice a week. I've been catching for her. She's 15. No one has ever caught for her more than 2 times in 6-7 years. I catch for her. I got a broken toe and a broken foot to prove it. She pitches pretty fast now. I wear a t-shirt every day of my life because I want to live the way I want to live. I don't want anybody telling me what to do, how to raise my children, the husband I want to be. I take date nights no matter what. The way I treat my team, the way I live is my choice, and I would die for that. When someone tells me they need a time management program, I'm like, no, you just don't know your true why. If a brick wall is in front of me,
I don't want anyone bossing me around. Isa lang ang pwedeng mag-boss around sa akin, si Boss Darbs lang. The rest who are trying to put me down, the rest who are trying to make me feel like I am not good enough, like, why you did not do this, why, like all that. Who are you to
when I have a tough day,
give me that kind of...
I don't say I need more money, I need more this. It's like, no one's going to...
Si Boss Darbs lang, okay na ako. The rest, no.
My kids are going to have
choices. Don't you ever boss me
around. And I'm never going backwards. So if you know where you are, and you know where you want to go, the middle part that anchors it, this is your why. This makes you get from here to here no matter what it takes. So anchor in your why. So the only thing left, if you know where you are, you want to go, is the bridge. And the bridge is the how. How do I get there? What capabilities do I need to overcome imposter syndrome, to find intimacy, to expand my marketing, my sales, to have the courage to move forward? How do I do that? And I've been using this for over a decade, but I want to tell you something. In the last couple of years, how has evolved. Because sometimes, can how get overwhelming sometimes?
Yeah.
Or how do I overcome this story that was implanted in my life? How do I get my husband to back me on the decisions I want to make? How do I go for it without my friends thinking I look stupid? Replace the word how with who. Who's already been there? Who's gone where you want to go? Who has the blueprint? Who has the roadmap? How do you get there faster? For me, that was Tony Robbins. For me, that was Unleash the Power Within. And then Date with Destiny and Business Mastery. That was my who. Because Tony's not only been there, he saw it. He's got the biggest heart in the world to take what he's learned. He's obsessively learned and give you those capabilities. So if you need to overcome imposter syndrome, if you have to build courage, if you have to build a new story, if you go through the Dickens process on day 3, it will change your life forever. Those of you that have been through it, put it in the chat. These are the things that you learn the how from the who. This can happen in all areas of your life. Where am I with my health? Where do I want to go with my health? Why do I want my health? Who can help me? Where am I with my income? Where do I want to go with my income? Why do I want more income? How do I do it, and who can help me? This exercise, come on over here, Mike. This exercise has fundamentally shifted my life more than any one thing. So I ask you, your who. For those of you that are going to UPW, if it sounds like I'm trying to enroll you, I am, because I feel like I'd be doing you a disservice, because this 5 days, unbelievable if you're just meeting Tony. Tell me it wasn't great. Put it in the chat. The last 5 days have been amazing, but it's just scratching the surface. You need total immersion, and you need to commit. And I love that it's virtual, because Tony comes into your living room within a studio that'll blow your mind all around the world. So here's what I'd like to do. Here's the cool part. Tony made an opportunity, which he's done for the last 2 years. I think this is the last 5-day free challenge he's ever doing, but he also made an opportunity for you to get enrolled at a price he's never done. The price is unbelievable, and you know you got 3 options, and each option should be the one that aligns with you.
Gold.
The gold option, and I gotta just share this because not only do you get a great UPW ticket,
Sarap ng I just wanted to get rich so that I can go on trainings like this and train people and bring people as well.
Incredible bonuses. Literally, you bought it separately, it'd be 3 times the price. That's the gold package. You built a silver package that allows you to get a ticket and instant training of some of his best programs. And then what I love so much is he created a price for the bronze level that I believe every single person here needs to take action and be a part of it. It's the lowest price that I've ever seen. When I first went to UPW, I remember tickets being $1,000 to go. So you can get enrolled for $395 today. I don't care which one you do. But as Tony said earlier, I wrote it down, never leave the scene of motivation, inspiration, training without taking an action. The state you're in now is the best state. Tony also said, over-deliver, irresistible offer. That's in my life, Tony Robbins has been that bridge in so many ways. And I
My friends unleash the power within. We'll see you soon.
How much was it? Like, I want that.
And my friends, Tony Robbins is coming back here in 7 minutes, so don't go anywhere. He's coming back, my friends. We'll see you in 7 minutes. Bye.
Tumaas kahapon 16, ano lang yun, 18,000 something. Ah, 18,000 pala yun. O, tumaas, bumaba ang peso today. 51. Oh, sleepy na ako talaga. Good night to all. Ano ba? Parang life lessons ko right now. Where do you, close the gap for this close the gap activity? Yep. Where am I right now? To be honest, I love the work that I am doing. It's just that something happened, and then I said my goodbyes. Though I really don't want to go, and I don't want to leave. Like, I still wanted to keep it. I still wanted to keep on writing for Kuya Dark. It's just that there are some things that I figured out. May mga bagay akong nalaman, and somehow I am seeing as well, parang, ano ba? There are talks behind my back, ganon. People around, ganon. It's hard for me kasi trust yun eh. It's like trust that I'm working on to parang restore, ganun. Tapos to be honest, yun, I wanted to keep on growing and still learning. Right now, it's just that I have to go to Cebu because meron akong ticket and I wanted to start a new life. My tita doesn't want me to give up the house. I want to live in my own house. Wala pa akong sariling bahay, but I bought rights or parang doon sa Batangas. And then it's just that, of course, nag-stop ako mag-work because of my health before, and then yun, parang gusto ko pa rin siyang i-save. So, I'll be sending a message to that. And then, yun, growth, personal growth. There are some limitations in my life right now, like in relationships as well. I have this someone that I really treasure and I really value. And it's just that, parang, hindi ko alam kung, I should continue. Parang, it's okay naman. Parang wala naman akong na we have to be together and all that. It's just that I want it to be fair with if there is another person in the story. Like, kasi there is, I know that there was someone na he is entangled with, and then it's just that I know that I have a connection with this guy talaga. Ayun. But I don't want to be the reason why he will broke up with the girl or what, or kung sila man or what. Ayun. I just love him from afar. Uy, love. Yeah, I must admit that I do love the person right now. I do see ever since August. Yan. I know. Cause I know, like, if there's someone that I wanted to grow old with, parang I am seeing myself. Because I'm also seeing dreams. I know, ano, I am big with dreams because I can see dreams and it comes true. Parang nagkakatotoo. So, ayun. I prayed about it. I'm still praying about it. Malay mo, mali lang talaga ako or yun, kung may gusto siya sa akin, I hope he will let me know. Like, really say it loud. Kasi, hindi na naniniwala yung puso ko to accept, like, ano lang tayo, parang MU-MU lang, or ME lang, or, like, parang read between the lines. I don't want to live in that way na. Parang if the person or if the guy really likes me, I want it na manggaling talaga sa kanya and tell me na, hey, this is it. I really wanted to let you know na I like you. Ganun, I love you. Or if nandun na siya sa point na ganun, I hope. If not, hope yeah, you know. If not, then let me know about it. And yeah, it's really like, I am still holding on with it. Though, yun nga, nagsusulat the write-ups that I did. I was like, when I was writing it, like, is this for me? I am asking myself, like, is this for me? Are we writing this? Is this because are we picking this topic because it was for me? Like, did we write this because it was for me? Or is it because it is the parang pain points ng mga tao na ito yung trending kasi na alam natin na magti-trending or dahil ito kasi yung magiging reason para magkaroon tayo ng maraming views or maraming makaka-relate, ganun. So, nanonood na naman. So, I am actually in the process of accepting it na was the topic meant for me, though kami ang nagsulat nun, though I was actually the one who's writing it. So, for being a writer, it's really tough for me because I myself parang I don't want to write something that is not from my heart. Ganun. I don't want to write something that I do not believe in. Ganun. So, why am I sharing this? So, why I came to a point of sharing my whole life in YouTube, or what you see in YouTube is really who I am, or in my social medias. Maybe sa inyo hindi, but for me it is because it's my outlet. At saka, I am not doing this for you. I'm doing this for myself. I know that it's very selfish, but I have to be selfish to be selfless. Na alam ko na may mga taong makaka-relate din on what I've been going through. So, I just, bata pa lang ako, I know na I wanted to be a history maker, something like that. Like, I wanted to write the story of God in my life, that whatever is happening in my life, God is involved in it. He is the very source of why I am doing things. Even going on live on YouTube and all that, and even when I'm writing, sorry. And so I wanted my children as well, that when I am gone, or yung may relatives ko, kasi nung dumaan ako sa operation, I had my operation twice. Yung una, I did it in Cebu. I had it in Cebu. It was for a polyp. So, it's not that serious, but it's a general, operation that I had 2 years ago, I think. Bumalik na si Tony.
Ultimate Breakthrough Challenge family, come on back with some energy, my friends. Hello. And if
So, bumalik na. I wanted to be enrolled in that, but may, financial wise, parang I am expecting for there's something that will come, pero I wanted to use it for, start up for a business or something. Or bills, ganun. I-mute ko muna to si KK kasi I am still emoting Charis. So, yun nga, that I am, what you see on screen is really who I am. And I make it to a point na pag nakita ko ng mga future children ko, that my children will look back on this, or even me, if I'm gonna look back at it, I can say that I lived my life in truth and in a truthful way. Ayoko yung yung parang filtered life. No, I don't want that. Sino kaya tong nag-iisang nanonood? I hope you're getting value from what you're watching as well, because I just wanted to share that if you wanted to be fulfilled with your life, live according to your truth, according to your moral compass. I am not into like gaining or having followers and all that, or having everything in life. Talagang what I really wanted to do is to live my life for God and live my life the way He wanted it. And maybe some people will not understand na, of course, minsan nakaka-insecure din yung parang, hala, yung nag-post ka tas walang nanonood, or nag-live ka tas walang nanonood, somehow ganun. Pero to me, on my end, it doesn't matter kasi I am living in my truth, that whenever I look back at it, parang that's who I am. I'm gonna look at it, Christian, ganun. So, hindi ako yung mag-i-edit and all that. I want people to see what's really happening in my life. Right now, if you can see my room, talagang sobrang kalat kasi nagliligpit ako. Leaving this house, I'd been here in this house for 3 years. 3 years, and why I opted to separate, kasi before nung yung bahay namin sa Metroville, malapit lang din dito, na narimata siya. So, it was a house that was supposed to be sa aming mga magkakapatid, pero parang yung the part or the portion that I paid for, parang hindi na acknowledge yun, na parang basta binenta lang yung bahay niya nang hindi kami na-inform, just because yun yung akala ko part kami as owner, tapos sinabi nung basta na para yun sa pamangkin ko. Parang what? Kami yung nagbayad tapos magiging mapupunta sa mga pamangkin ko. Parang nasaan kami naman yung part na nagbayad kami. Parang wala lang yung portion na yun namin. Just because someone is paying more, ganun. So, I thank God kasi yung isa kong tita, she helped me. Iniwan nila ako at grabe talaga. My family left me during that time. Talagang nila ako. Parang yung nanay ko, yung pag-uwi niya sa Mindanao that time, it was like, I had been abandoned many times, if you only knew. I had been abandoned many times. Maybe that's the reason why I have the issue of abandoning people as well. Like if I see that it's, if I see that hindi ako maintindihan ito, or hindi ako like if I am too attached, or parang natatakot ako to be attached with, yung parang mapamahal ako masyado sa mga tao kasi I'd been into a state of being abandoned many times. It's not just this. And this ultimate breakthrough, I don't want it to limit me. And I don't want to abandon the people that I love. I know that in my family, I'm still working. It's much better than before. Talagang, when I was at that time, parang kasi we're always moving places to places, ganun. And it's not easy yung parang hindi, yun nga, parang yung kay Dean kanina. It's not easy to, live na parang wala kang security in life. Parang you're always on a run or on a hunt. I can even remember yung movie na Apocalypto. I was really traumatized kasi I see my life like I was always running for my life. I was always fighting to live. And partly, siguro yung internal struggles ko when I was still young is that I was always been told na, alam mo yung pang 10 ka, tapos you're always like, latak, ganon latak. It felt so, disheartening. And, that you are never good enough. Yeah, yan yung nag-ano talaga sa akin. When my mom told me that, 2017, it broke my heart into pieces talaga. Not just, parang it broke my faith in who she is. It broke not in God, but, parang people let you down. Those people that you love the most let you down. And yung pinakauna kong mentor, my mentor, she's a leader and I am in this Christian community. I know na I already forgiven them from the heart. What they did is like, yung mentor ko na yun, that's why I don't want, like, parang meron akong with the mentors or someone higher than me. I have the issue of, parang I don't want to be manipulated because I've been there. This person, I really loved her. She's my first mentor and she asked me a choice too. It's either I go to church or I'll lose my work or I'll lose the job that I'd been. That's when I was a teacher. I was abandoned. I felt so abandoned that time. I could not go to church that day because parang hiniram ng kapatid ko yung yung pera ko to go, and then of course that choice, it's a Sunday, she told me to if I don't go to church I will lose my job. She gave me that ultimatum, and that's one thing I hate, or parang I don't want people that are bossing around me kasi I've been there. I know what manipulation looks like. And she's one of the person that I love the most. She was my first mentor. I prayed for her. But I had no choice but to forgive her because I know that I will not be blessed if I will not. So we went on a trial, like I forgave her after a week for that. Tapos yung taong nanonood nito, you'll know what's my story behind those people that will go through, and then the rest na nag-skip lang, then you will not know who really Christy is, Christy June is. But this is my story, that why I have abandonment issue. I've been abandoned by my mother. I've been abandoned by people, and the mentor that I had. And we went on to trial to nagpadole ako at that time. I know na may chances akong manalo and get millions out of it. I really had the chance kasi I had the proof na nag-ano ako nag-submit ako ng lesson plans for a month. I have my uniform for that school year. My name is already in the handbook. I was gaslighted na they told me na we will not renew your contract at that year. And they told me that I am still contractual. How can you be contractual when you've been working for 9 years? How will that be possible? And I have the contract that I am a regular facilitator and employee. Yeah, that's the reason why I don't want to be an employer under anyone. If I see na they're bossing me around or they're like treating me like just an employee, there's no connection, then I will most probably leave the business or leave those people that I am beginning to be attached or I'm loving. Kasi that's my story of why I don't want to be a teacher anymore as well. And why I did not want to pursue it. Like, I don't want to be in that same situation again. Pero I know that my love is much stronger than the pain that they caused me. And yung mga anak ko kasi, I'm into mentoring as well. I've been mentoring youth. Those are parts of me that I miss. Ba't ko umiyak? Christy dyan sa gari, oh. Those are parts of me that I miss. And being a mentor. And God just reminded me of children. I mean, those youth that I'd been with. Kasi kumokonect sila sa akin this time. Because I know na I made an impact and I made an impact in their lives. Oh, Jesus. And I was a mentor in the core. I was one of the leaders in a organization in a Christian community. And my mentees are my student during that time. And graduation nila yon. So I was going on a trial, no? Because I actually, what I did is lumapit ako sa dole kasi I know that I have the right to fight for what happened on me and over a choice of not going on a Sunday. Kasi so pinatawad ko yung leader ko na yon, mentor ko na yon. Pinatawad ko siya and parang 14, nung nangyari yung incident na pinapili ako if I should go to, binigyan ako ng ultimatum if I'll be going to church on a Sunday or not. Pag hindi ako nag-church ng Sunday, I will be tatanggalin ako sa work. Ganun. And that broke my heart into pieces kasi mentor ko yun. And then, I love the person as well, like a mom. And then, grabe to si Tony Robbins. Share this. And then, what happened is, yun nga, pinatawad ko and they told me that I would still be back in, So, sabi niya, pagka hindi ako nag-church, I'll be out ng work, matatanggal ako sa work. That's over a phone call. Nagkaroon ako ng trauma. That's why I don't want to talk to people on a phone call because it is something that had broke my heart. And it's like, I feel like if there's gonna be a call, it's like another heartbreak, another heartache. So I opted to go on a chat or a message or a voicemail because phone calls are traumatic for me. I only answer phone calls when it's my family or if you're part of the family, if you're so close to me, that's the only time that I'm gonna be answering a phone call. And then, yun nga, isang bagay din yun bakit ako nag-call center agent. It is to overcome my fear of answering phone calls. If you just know, on the first day na nag-calls ako, I was actually crying. Umiiyak ako that time. Kasi I was trying to overcome my fear of the traumatic experience of being fired over a phone call. And the reason was just because I am not going to church on a Sunday. And then I've forgiven the person because I love her more. So, yan, they tried to talk to me, that. Pero, I figured out na ginawa lang nila yon para hindi sila mapasama. And kasi they consulted another teacher. Si teacher starts with letter C. And that thing. So, but yun. So, yung mga estudyante ko, yung mga mentee ko, they're like 12 mentees I have. I lost everything. Kaya hindi ako natatakot na mawala ang sino man na hindi ako naiintindihan or hindi ako kilala. Because I've been through losing, like, from being so connected with 500 people, or kasi this is a family, like in this Christian community, it's like a family. So, I still love the persons, pero natatakot ako na baka maulit. So I don't want to, parang if ever na given a chance to be with them, I'll just visit, but I miss them really. And sabi ko yun kay Lord na if ever kaya siguro din ako hindi pa nakakasal or hindi pa ako not getting married pa kasi attached ako dun sa area na, and I wanted to be married in that same Christian organization or church. So yun. I made a promise to God na kung gusto kong may kasal doon or kasama sila. So yun. And I thank God kasi at this time, parang this year, after this year, 2020, after 2021, that had happened. That's the reason why I posted my tattoos, everyone who hurt me, everyone who, I am forgiving them. Lahat ng I'm forgiving everyone who hurt me and all that. And then that's it. I just wanted to let go of everything, and I am unlocking all the things that have happened in my life. 3 hours. This is not for you, this is for me. And yun, it's just like there's a lot of things that going on in my life, but that's where I am right now. And I am happy because right now talaga masasabi ko na I'd forgiven all of them sa lahat ng ginawa nila sa akin. And then yun nga, I made a decision to, sabi ko dun sa mga mentee ko na pag nakita nyo ako sa graduation nyo, that means I've let go of my right nag-ano na ako. I have let go of the right to be, parang makuha ko yung justice na kailangan ko. So, vengeance is the Lord's. Si Lord na yung bahala. Pero I was also praying to God na to give them the grace because I love those person. I love those people na nandun and I'm praying for them to be safe. So yun, right now there had been a reminder for me this time. I'm not sure anong nangyayari sa church, but I pray for protection and all that for anyone, lalo na dun sa mentor ko na mahal ko. Yun. Babae yun na, hindi yun mentor ko siya dati. She's a mom. She's like a mom to me. So that's it. I pray I release everything, lahat ng passwords ko. My tattoos are very meaningful to me kasi it means that I am writing a new story and this is the beginning of unlocking whatever I have inside. I'll be unlocking that. And kung sino man ang gustong sumama sa journey ko, I'll be glad. And yeah, that's it. So that's where I am. So that's where I am right now. And yun nga yung sabi doon, where do I want to go? I wanted to be successful. I am successful. I feel already that I am already successful. Actually, kung kunin ako ni Lord, fulfilled na ako. Pero wag muna, Lord, kasi mag-aasawa pa ako. Magkakanak pa ako this year, di ba? Tapos, yun. Where do I wanna go? Yun. I just want my family to be secured. Yung mga anak ko, I wanted to have 4 children. Because that's what I see in my dream. Therefore, and then there was actually there are 5. There was someone, maybe yung isa yung baby. Oh. Anyways, basta. Tapos I want, when it comes to relationship, I am really so maingat. Because I wanted na pag nag-yes ako sa tao, it's really a yes and there's no more turning back and that it is someone that I'll be giving my life to. Like, if ever if worse comes to worse, I will fight for that person. Ganun. Like, yun. So, to be honest, don't have wala akong mako-consider na relationship na talagang masasabi kong all out ako. Kasi, or all out sila sa akin, ganun. Kasi the rest of my relationships are like, LDR lang. I had a relationship with a taga Finland. That's my first boyfriend. We lasted for about a year, and then the thing that broke us off is the belief. Kasi Muslim yun siya, but he's not a practitioner Muslim na He's also a Christian. Kaya lang sabi niya. We came to a conversation na paano pag nagka-baby tayo, saan sila mag-church? Yun. So sabi niya, they will be in a Muslim kasi siya ang tatay. So I have to submit. Ganun. Parang ako daw, okay lang na maging Christian ako as I can still go to church. Pero yung mga anak namin is magsistay to where he is. And that's to being a Muslim. And that's not one thing that I can allow. Sabi ko, hindi ko pwedeng diktahan yung magiging desisyon ng mga anak ko na they're gonna grow old as a Muslim or hindi sila magiging Christian. Because I believe in Jesus. If there's no Jesus, hindi siya para sa akin. That's the only reason. That's the number one non-negotiable to me. If you do not have Jesus in your heart, I will not be marrying anyone who doesn't have a relationship with God, with Jesus. That's the thing. That's my non-negotiable. And then if you don't believe in Jesus, then we're not meant to be together. And then the second boyfriend I had was in Texas. Tapos in between nun meron akong someone din na lasted, parang ano lang siya, no label relationship lang yun. Pero it was something special as well after that guy. And that's in 2014. Ganun. Tapos, yung mga official ko lang talaga, they are LDR. And then the other one is from Texas. And then, ano din, basta hindi meant to be yun. The rest na gini-give up ko are not meant for me. Talaga, I am sure. Tapos yung pinaka-latest na nilet go ko, hindi naman latest, kasi June pa lang, last year, 2020 pa lang, or 2019, nagpapaalam na ako, tas parang attached lang ako kasi first kiss ko yon, first something ko yon. Siya yung pinaka-first guy who got me. But I could not say that our relationship was meant to be, or I could not say as well, it was meant for that time. It's what I needed. It's just that hindi siya meant kasi parang I feel like I am not in a relationship kasi parang nandyan lang siya pero hindi ko maramdaman yung presence, ganun. So, hindi ko pa naranasan ang relationship na talaga masasabi kong this is from God and I am blessed na not just sa isip ko, hindi lang nasa isip ko lang, or hindi lang nasa sa imagination ko lang, ganun, or hindi lang NLR, hindi lang LDR, hindi lang yung physical connection lang, hindi ganun yun. So, wala pa akong masasabing relationship na talagang masasabi kong, wow, God, thank you for this blessing talaga, that this is a blessing. So if ever, sabi nga nung isang naka-date ko, or parang naka-chat ko, chat lang pala yun, is if I'll consider it, I can still consider it na pa lang ako, mag-isa, or I've never been into relationship. I can see it like kung sino daw yung magiging karelasyon ko is still the right relationship. Yun na matatawag ko talagang relationship, talagang real as in relationship. So yun, sabi ko, nga, kasi sabi ko kay God na I want the one that I'll be with, or yung magiging karelasyon ko. First, yung talagang siya talaga yung iisa lang, ganun. It was not just a promise to people kasi it was a promise I made to God. That's why it's hard to let go of people na nalaw ko na lumapit sa akin. So right now, yung pinaka ngayon ko, yung pinaka now, as in pinaka latest, super latest na now talaga, we're not naman together. But if I wanted to have a label, siya ang gusto ko, yung now ngayon, siya ang gusto ko. Yan. But, if ever na he loves someone else, then okay, I'll let him go completely. So ngayon nga, may yun, parang I am trying to, pinapalakas ko yung sarili ko of what will happen. Kasi ako yung nagpaalam na this is it. Pero end na, ganon, dati. Hindi na I'll be leaving it. Pero hindi ko gusto na iwanan yung bagay na yun, lalo na yung pagsusulat. Kasi it is something that is me. Parang inabandon ko rin yung sarili ko kasi pagka ganon. Tsaka alam ko na the person is really important to me na. Kaya lang, hindi naman lahat ng minamahal natin, mahal tayo. And with that, I know that he has a lot of things on his plate right now. And yeah. That's it. The now ko. The now, the amazing man. Yun. So, I know na love can be so complex, pero yes, I am ready to receive the man and that is meant for me. Ito siya talagang nasabi ko nung time na yon, na ito lang siya yung nasabi ko na he is such a blessing. Ito siya, yung ngayon, nung napasabi ko, oh, blessing to siya, Lord, kasi parang ginagamit siya ni God. Ginagamit siya ni God para makilala ko yung sarili ko more pa and mag-grow ako as an individual. And yung sa next journey ko, sa buhay ko, yung maging stronger pa and to believe and to trust, yun. Kasi sabi ko, hindi na ako magmamahal talaga. Pero this guy is such a blessing to me. Kahit hindi man kami maging official or what. Pero gusto ko ng label, ganun. Yan. It's just like, this amazing man is just amazing. Just amazing. Yan. Hindi ko naman it's just amazing. Pero ang kinakaano ko is, kaya ba akong tanggapin ng ako, ganito talaga. Kalat nga ng kwarto ko, kailangan magtupi ng So, yun. Susulat ako ngayon after this, and yeah, this is a lot, pero sino kayang manonood ng 3 hours and 24 minutes now? Kung umabot ka sa point na to, now you know who Christy really is, who June really is. Behind my strong aura, or yung parang napaka-tough ko, is actually a heart that has been abandoned many times and is scared to be abandoned again. So I don't want anyone to, right now, I don't want to abandon myself in this case. I wanted to embrace who I am. And ultimate breakthrough is helping me getting through it. And I'm just so thankful. Yan. So yan. Have a great day. Enjoy your life and also live according to your deeper truth. Talaga hanapin niyo yung truth sa buhay niyo para hindi kayo sasayang yung buhay niyo, ganun. And beyond the gaining, I hope that it's the relationship with God that you're gonna focus more on too. Kasi what profits a man if you gain the whole world but you lose your soul? That's in Mark. So, anong silbi ng meron ka nito, mayaman ka, pero yung soul mo, wala yung soul mo. So, whatever that is, whatever is your why, find it. And I'm still on the process of finding my whys talaga. And I am happy and fulfilled. Kunin man ako ni Lord, wag naman po sana, Lord. Ingatan niyo po kaming lahat sa COVID. Kasi magta-travel nga ako. I wanted to fulfill my traveler's dream. Ang dami kong ipapack pa as in, like, saan ko kaya ito ilalagay itong mga damit na to, ganyan. Ang marami sa akin damit ngayon, nahirapan. Siguro kung makikita niyo yung kalat ng kwarto ko, Diyos ko talaga. Ayan lang. This is Christy. This is who I am. This is Christian Sagario. If you reach 3 hours and 30 minutes, I am doing the live because I wanted to save it. It's not to impress anyone. It's me versus me talaga. I wanted to grow and to evolve and to be strong, and that's it. Thank you so much, Tony Robbins and the team. Ultimate Breakthrough 2022 is like a camp for me, a retreat that I have. And I release all my unforgiveness. I release all my fears, my pain, and I welcome the year. This year will be something that is great, that is meant for me, will happen. And conditioning, this is conditioning, and I'm conditioning my conditioning my mind to be and my state in greatness, into success. I am already successful. It's the influence naman that I wanted to work on. That's it. Have a great day to everyone. And lots of love. Love, love, love. Enjoy your life. Bye-bye. Take care of yourself. Wear face mask, wash your hands, and appreciate those people around you. And thank you to my family for this year. I mean, nung sa operation ko, thank you to my YouTube friends as well, YouTube family. They really helped me a lot. Yun yung naging year ko, yung talagang nakita ko na, okay, tinulungan ako ng family ko this time. Inano nila ako. Naramdaman ko na, okay, bunso ako, na, talagang naramdaman ko na they love me. Yung mga kapatid ko. Shout out sa aking mga sisters and brothers. And to my family, to my mom, I already forgiven her. Lahat ng tao, pinatawad ko na. Lahat ng nakasakit sa akin, lahat ng mga marites na yan, pinatawad ko na kayo. And I am just gonna receive all the blessings that was meant for me so that I can share it to others. That's it! Have a great day! This is again Christy. It's already 6:50. Tutulog ako tas magsusulat. Thank you for being patient to me as well. You who know who you are, the amazing man. Thank you so much for being patient with me. And have a great day. You take care of yourself too. Bye-bye. Mag-label na tayo. Charot.